Everyone at our video, we have video feed on via YouTube for the meeting. Welcome, everyone, and I'm going to call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. Can I have roll call, please?
Heather Owen,
Here.
Annette Easta.
Here.
John Thurston.
Here.
Virginia Mendoza.
Here.
Jaime Fernandez.
Here.
Mary Claypool.
Present.
Sandra Ocampo is absent with notification, and Dr. Dominguez. Present.
And the Pledge of Allegiance. Juanita, can I ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
No.
No? Can I
So
get-
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Communications, correspondence. Do you have any
No.
correspondence? Oral comments from the public for anything that's not on the agenda? Yes, come on forward. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Juanita, CSA President for our Chapter 35. And good morning, President Owen, board members and staff and guests. I'm here to say we're very happy to hear that Migrant Ed got their funding back and their letters were rescinded. We had 29 migrant employees that were affected. And we're very happy to hear that, they are back to work, not ending their work on September 7th. And we also wanted to share that CSCA goes to an annual conference, and we went to our conference this year. It was July 21st through the 25th. And we had 3 delegates from our chapter, Ruby Gonzalez, she's an ELP admin assistant, and Kanye Spills is a retiree, and myself. We had about 1,800 delegates and guests at our conference, and we collect a humanitarian fund. This year, we collected over $105,000, and that's to help our members as they go through hardships during the year. It is my honor to let you know that Becky Hadley, our retiree, past president and regional rep for Region 28, was nominated for the honor roll, which is the second highest award or recognition anybody could receive for our CSCA. And the nomination is taken to the floor, and it's very formal. And so we're very happy and excited to know that she was approved. And she is now on the honor roll for the state CSCA. And so she, deserves this award. We all know how passionate she is about CSCA. And just here to acknowledge that she received this award, and very thankful for her leadership that she gives to our chapter, and also the friendship that we have had. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. Can you get a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item number 4, staff recognition. Do we have
We
any?
do not have staff
Staff
recognition
recognition,
today.
okay. No unfinished business. We're gonna move on to new business action items. I'd like to take 6.1 through 6.6 together. Those are the Monterey County Office of Education Annual Fiscal Report for Prop 28, Arts and Music Funding, the Home Charter, Monterey County Home Charter School Annual Fiscal Report, Open Door Charter School Annual Fiscal Report, Monterey County Office of Education, Arts and Music in Schools Plan Early Learning Program, Special Ed, Wellington Smith, and then let's see, Monterey County Home Charter School Arts and Music, and then 6.6 is Open Door Charter School Arts and Music all together. Are there any questions on this item or discussion? Annette?
I just noticed that many of the funds are not being fully, well, none of the programs had fully expended funds. And so there's lots of carryover. In fact, it's like there's more carryover than the money that we're getting. And so I just want to understand that a little bit more so that we can, be cognizant of why that might be.
Sure.
Because you're contracting out,
Right.
but you're still not using it all.
Yeah, so Dr. Arabia, Assistant Superintendent for Special Ed, in Nubia. So when we did finally get the waiver and we had some recommendations for different agencies that could provide the services that, this agency in Salinas, Artists Inc., we both had the same experience. We met with them. We even brought them to our site so they could understand our population. It just never kind of came to fruition. We kept asking for the contract. They wanted their kids to build a mural and do plays. We're like, remember, we took you around to start your population. So it wasn't until like mid-May when they finally were like, okay, we're ready to get going. We're like, the year's over. So it was a lot of meeting and talking with them, and it just never came through. So that's why there's a carryover for that. We did work with Soul Treasures for South County, and that was lovely. They're a great agency, but they only do the South County area. So that's for us. That was our experience for our schools in the Salinas area. We just couldn't quite get that off. And I know she had the same, I don't want to speak
We
for
had a delay in the contract as well. So we started in like August, September, October, trying to get a contract. We didn't get a contract till like January. By the time they went through our contract process, fingerprinting and background checks, they didn't start till like April, and it didn't even finalize. So that's part of the.
So we're gonna be looking at, we have a recommendation for a different vendor. So that's why, that's for us, that's why there was so much carryover.
Okay, yeah, well, I just, for me, I just hope that we can hit the ground running this year, because, arts are so
sure.
important to students, especially the types of students that we're dealing with here, and we have the money, so
Right.
it seems a shame to not
Yeah,
use
and
it.
it was a delay even from the beginning because we had to wait for the waiver to be. So we have already started the contract for Soul Treasures for the South County, and now Nubia is giving me the contact information for the Salinas area, so
Yeah.
we'll be working together to get
Yeah,
that going.
Just,
Yes.
do it.
Yeah, and we have been doing arts with the kids with some of the money, as you have noticed. So kids were doing art, and we just didn't get the bigger projects done. And so we hope to get those finalized this year.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions on this item? Okay, thank you.
Move approval of all those items or action as you suggested, Heather, 6.1 through 6.6.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, 6, 7, we're
Coming back.
We're gonna come back to that, okay, unfinished business, new business action items, that's
See.
Let's skip that.
Those two, and do you want to do?
Payment of
8.3?
claims.
payment of claims.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
8.3, payment of claims for July 2025 is page 83 in the agenda. Dr. Stanley.
Great, thank you so much. I'm looking at the next 5 minutes so that Jake and Libby can go on at 9:15 exactly. Watch this. So for the month of July, we had $5 million that were our expenditures and the ones that we paid out. Quite a large amount, as you probably noticed. And part of that is just because we're making sure that we have all the expenditures we need in 24-25 year. And also most of our big ticket items end up in the first part of the new year when it comes in. Just a couple of things to kind of point out on page 85, we've got $220,000 for Avila Brothers. That's the final on the Bard Blades project that we were working on. We also had a question, John, thank you for the question from about the California County Superintendents and what the total amount added up to there. That was $74,000. The biggest amount is the County Superintendent's annual membership amount, that's $63,000. And then it keeps going up. And then it's all of the other subcommittee groups for BASC, for instance, for me and for Lee to attend. Yeah, those are all about $1,000. And so each of those adds up to that. We also have the new membership dues for the California Student Emergency Response Network. So that was added in here this time. So it all added up to 74,000 this year.
So, and this is in no way a criticism of this office being part of the California County Soup site. That is a must. That is table stakes in my mind. What is our annual dues for CSBA? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, but I think it's around
CSBA.
15,000.
I think we just paid that bill. So
Okay.
Oh, we did.
Okay.
Cool.
And then we did the ACCBE, which was the initial, and you're gonna find out how much it's gonna be going forward, which is about
We did that
5,000.
one. Yes.
But I bring this up, you know, to my fellow board members, is the California County Soups, you know, they are a real big boy and girl organization with an executive director and effective legislative advocacy and all of those things. And, you know, so it's the subscription for being part of the organization is, what'd you say, 64?
60, yeah, sorry. 60, no, I've messed it up. I've messed up my papers here. 63,706.
63,706. And Dr. Gus, did you see what the CSBRC?
she's pulling it from. the
Okay.
memo.
So it's just when we have these discussions about organizations that the board wants to be part of, it's just important that we have a reference point that the office is also part of California County Soups and what that cost is. All money well spent, but it is significantly more than what we as a board have historically spent.
Even before with CCBE.
Yeah, CCBE, I think, was in the $8,000 a year range. And then I think CSBA is like 15. So you're talking, you know,
23.
20, I think, off
Okay,
the top of my head.
and so knowing what the sum is of ACCBE,
And
CSBA.
CSBA, right,
that would be the equivalent comparison.
yeah, and any other organization that
Right.
the board.
Right, okay.
So just a couple other items. You may have noticed that we had an item called disaster cleanup specialist. It was for $86,000. That was the cleanup that happened at the kitchen at Ruth Andreessen. And this is an insurance claim, and so the insurance will come back in and cover that cost. Couple other things I thought you would be interested in is on page 88, we have the Frontline Technologies Group. That's that 863,869 big ticket item, right? We do this every year at the beginning. In July, this is our financial system that we pay for, and then we bill back to our districts their portion of it based on their ADA. So that one is not a true expense to us because we do get money back in on that one. On that same page, we have a $500,000 item that went out to Healthy Campus. Healthy Campus, if you remember, is the agency that we contracted with to do the fee schedule implementation with our CYBHI money. So that's that one. I had one other one that I had paid here just in case you have a question about it. It's Wolf Lane Christopher Architects on page 94. And you might say, what are we doing with that architect firm? It's actually PBK. So just, yeah, it's like it's not a DBA, but they get billed through Wolf Lane Christopher Architects. So when you see that $148,000 on page 94, that really is our PBK architect invoices that we pay. Any other questions I can answer?
You left 30 seconds on the table.
I tried to fill the time.
I know you did good, John. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, we are going to go to our time certain 9:15 a.m. quarterly investment report for the period ending June 30th, 2025.
Microphone adjustment, I don't see her.
Here's the clicker, Jake.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's not on. Make it a comment. It's on. She says no.
should I just click over if I remember from last quarter? Come up halfway through my slides, we'll see.
While that's coming up, just in case any board members are concerned whether or not we're on YouTube, we are on YouTube, we are live. You're not seeing it on the screen because we do not have our tech folks today. So, and we do not have our two comms people who are the backup to the tech folks.
Oh.
So Terry is running it.
From
And
the
so
back.
it's the basic. It's out on YouTube, but it's just the basics. You're not getting any fancy bells and whistles today, so that's why you don't see it on the screen.
Well, Jake, we have a printout, so you can probably.
Okay, do you have a printout, Jake?
I have some notes that don't have pictures,
Do
but
you wanna?
I should be fine.
Oh.
You sure?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, they gave it to us. Again.
I'll just keep randomly clicking every once in a while.
Exactly, and it might light up, who knows?
And I might point out that the reason that you have it on in front of you at your
Yeah.
table instead of in your packet is because of the timing, because Jake just brought this to the county supervisors meeting just yesterday, I
Correct.
think, right?
Correct.
And so we don't want to put it in your packet until it's actually been approved at that level, and then we can bring it to you today. So that's why it's in front of you at the table instead of in your packet.
Yes, and it was approved yesterday by the board, so we'll get the final copy to you all as soon as possible. For those of you that might not know me, my name is Jake Stroud. I'm the Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector for the county. I am excited to be back at MCOE at a fun time of year. I don't know how you all's morning started, but mine started with 3 different school drop-offs. So this will probably be the most relaxing time of my day. But I will jump into my typical presentation, and it looks like just in time. It's on the screen, even on the right slide, so I'll return this to you. Thank you. So lots of words. I'll try to break them down here with the economy has remained resilient, but there are signs of cooling. Headline inflation, or headline employment rather, excuse me, remains strong, but there is some underlying data that suggests softening, which I will get to later in my presentation. Inflation has remained steady but low. Although tariffs are not fully priced in yet, I will talk more about tariffs as well. The Federal Reserve remains on hold, no cuts yet, although there is still a possibility of 50 basis points of cuts this year. Chair Powell is really evaluating the tariff uncertainty and kind of continuing his wait and see policy. Regarding yields, headlines did impact our bond yields during the quarter. But overall, we are seeing some curves steepening and normalization, which I'll of course show as well. So let's talk tariffs. For those of you that don't know, a tariff is a one-time price adjustment. So the full impact on inflation is not yet visible. We're not sure whether, cost absorption will occur, whether price increases will be passed along to the consumer. So there's still some waiting to really fully realize that. But I refer to this as the tariff roller coaster or Trump's tariff roller coaster. The yellow dots represent key events or policy changes. And it's been a major volatility driver during the quarter for us, which is why our risk-aware strategy remains important at times like this. And it is ever changing, so I apologize if this is already dated. I think there was a recent increase of 25% to India, again, as President Trump makes deals and creates further restrictions, this will change and maybe it'll become a regular slide in future quarters, we'll see. I reference inflation. You can see here that year over year inflation, as far as consumer price index is concerned, was at 2.4% in May. I think some inflation readings came out just yesterday that kind of remained low. That 2.4% was the lowest since 2023. And then we also have a slide on or a picture on the right of your screen or your packet with all the colored bars. That's actually showing a look at month over month inflation. And you can see the three furthest quarters to the right represent a 1.7% annualized. You can see that services are still up, represented by the dark blue bar. That has been the case for a long time that I've been coming to talk to you all. But food, energy, and goods have overall been cooling, which are things that are good precursors for Federal Reserve interest rate decreases or cuts, as we typically refer to them. There has been some recent tariff influence, which probably is the primary reason for the projection on the left in the shaded blue area. That has shown some impact of tariffs, particularly on key foreign goods, which include household supplies and recreational goods. So regarding the job market, we are seeing, again, still strong headline numbers, but feel like there's a little bit of a masking of weakness. Half of the June job gains, represented on your graphic on the left by the large pink bar, were actually in education, which initially to me seemed a bit counterintuitive. Maybe this group could make more sense of that than I could, possibly regarding some of the funding, things that were being straightened out and maybe seasonal impacts. There was a lot of education sector hiring, but I was initially kind of perplexed by that given DOGE and all the different cuts that have been going on. There was on the right of the screen, the first private payroll drop since March of 2023. So we are seeing some fragility in the job market, the labor market. And then another thing to add is that the May and June jobs were actually revised down by about 258,000 jobs, which seems like an astronomical number. Are there 258,000 less jobs than what was initially reported? That was adjusted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And really what this tells us is there's a little bit weaker picture than what we were initially seeing, and possibly another indicator towards cuts coming, especially given the kind of Trump versus Powell standoff that's been occurring. So I'll look at the Treasury yield curve. As mentioned, our kind of intermediate yields declined during the quarter given headline and growth and policy concerns. But overall, we are seeing some steepening of the curve, which means it's increasing kind of left to right, down to up, kind of a more traditional angle of what we're hoping to get back to. On here to our 2-year Treasury yield benchmark, you can see the start of the quarter or end of last quarter, it was at 3.88%. Some intra-quarter volatility ending at 3.72%. Again, a lot of that volatility is the tariff impact and headline information changing the rate. So I'll move on to the portfolio at this point. Our typical summary now, the values in the upper left. If you're looking for that key percentage, it's 4.26%. Our effective rate of return, just under $35 million of earnings during the quarter. Moving to the right, the first pie chart that says credit quality. This continues to be critical to us. Over half of our portfolio is AA. And then just below that is our maturity distribution, which is when we get the principal back for all of our investments. You can see that it's strong in terms of liquidity, represented by the far left bar that says overnight, but also maturity distribution. And we are anticipating that curve getting steeper, but the 1 to 3 year mark is kind of particularly good right now for yield. And given that these funds are not needed immediately, so that has kind of been our anchor that we are setting for when rates inevitably do decline, we will continue receiving the higher return on those investments. And then the last pie chart really just represents our diversified sector balance, which is important for us to be in line with policy, which I'll show in a second, but also it helps us be as responsive as possible to changes in the environment without being over allocated to any sector. So looking at the sector allocation a little bit more closely with some dollar amounts, some percentages, and the limit per our policy. Main thing here is that we've kind of been increasing our corporate allocation. You can see that's represented 20.8% and the sector limit is 30%. So we're still within policy limits there, but we're getting a little yield boost from corporate issuances right now. This is the sector allocation history that I like to show, just to show the movement of the portfolio over time. And if you focus on the yellow section, that is the corporate notes that I just referenced. You can see it's kind of widened at June of 2025, given what I just mentioned and attractive credit spreads there. And then I always show our full issuer list. We're still managing just under 300 individual securities. And you'll recognize most of the names. I've talked about them being blue chip, really common names, really conservative financials, especially in this environment right now. That's important to us. And then one of my more funner ones to highlight, or more fun ones to highlight, are the G-SIFIs, which are globally systemic important financial institutions. You'll see JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America. Those represent the top 3 tiers within that sector. Here's the portfolio characteristics and earnings, really a summary of all of the key figures. I already stole my own thunder with the rate percentage, of course, and the dollar amount, but also love to highlight that for fiscal year 24-25, we brought in $133 million in interest earnings. So that was a good end to the fiscal year for our treasury, and we'll have to celebrate that, Lupe. And lastly is just our certificate of compliance. We remain in compliance with government code and our investment policy. Typical disclaimer that I show, and I'm here if you have any questions. I didn't do it in 5 minutes, but if that's ever my goal, let me know.
John.
Yeah, well, I have a question, but first I have a statement since it's a public meeting. A tariff is a wholesale sales tax paid by US companies that import goods from other countries. You buy the product from foreign country A, it comes to the United States. When it hits the United States, the company that bought it has to pay the US government a tariff, which is a sales tax on that item. Foreign countries do not pay tariffs. Whether or not that importer decides to pass it on to the consumer is up to that importer, but foreign countries do not pay tariffs. So I just had to get that off my chest. So there was a big change. You went over the labor numbers.
Yes.
Which obviously is something that you all take into consideration as you're making these careful decisions about what to do with the money. There's a big change at the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, which if one is being cautious, would say that the future data that will come out of that for the monthly jobs report is going to be a little suspect. Is there another source that you all have to find that important data point that you can cross-check, shall we say, against the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
Good question. I know what you're,
loaded question.
Yeah, I know what you're referencing with the firing of the previous head and a new appointment, I think, coming if it hasn't happened already. At this point, no, but very important for us to keep in mind. I think it's accurate to make sure we're being really careful with what data we are trusting and what data we're making decisions based upon. But as far as the data that we saw during the quarter with the softening, to us, that indicates probably likelihood that the Federal Reserve will act. The bets are out right now, whether a cut will happen in September. But yeah, that continues to be important to us to monitor the job market and how the Fed will respond. And we'll have to be on the hunt for cross-checking of data to make sure we can trust all the data that we're making our decisions on. Great question, great point.
Good answer.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right, well then I know you have a busy agenda, so we'll get out of your way and I'll see you next quarter.
Do you feel more stressed about what's happening in the world as far as actually investing our funds? Is it a stressful
I
time?
feel stressed about having to drop 3 kids off. But no, overall, you know, volatility. Sorry. This is the easy part of my job. The volatility is important for us to continue to be aware of, but we feel strong with our conservative approach, and typically, again, buying and holding securities anytime we can, because then those rates are all locked in. We continue to receive that yield. Things like this might impact what things we're purchasing in the future And we like to be aware of it, but not to overreact to
Right.
different indicators or different situations out in the
Chase it.
economy or the world, because we've been doing this for a long time. And by being conservative and sticking to our strategy, we know we can continue to generate yield for the county and the schools.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah. Any other questions? Right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Libby. Bye.
All right, thank you. We're gonna move on to 8.2 Oasis Charter School Update to the County Board, page 63 in your agenda. Dr.
Yes, I'm gonna actually go ahead and pass this along to Director Archuleta to go over the information that's listed for you there. She does the work closest with the group, and I think we also have our.
Good morning. I'm just going to take the opportunity to introduce Lauren Ricker, who is coming before the board at your request to give an update as to what the status is of Oasis Charter School. We also have some of their board members that I'm gonna let Executive Director Ricker introduce to our board so that we know who we have governing our charter school. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Lauren.
Morning.
Good morning. Like Ms. Archuleta said, we do have board members. We do have one out in YouTube land. She's currently on maternity leave, so we welcome Julie over there in YouTube land. We have Melissa Edwards. She's our president. She is a director for Partners of Peace. That's her paying job. Jorge Acosta is our vice president. His paying job is he's a school counselor. And then we have Tamara Mitchell, who is the, I forget your branch manager at Mechanics Bank. And then we have Julie Poma, who also works for, she works for Taylor Farms. And our newest member, our newest trustee is Meg Robinson Brooker. Unfortunately, she can't be here today because she teaches special education in Pajaro Valley School District. So today is her first day with students, so unfortunately she can't join us today. But that's who we have on our team. We have all 5 positions filled. So I watched the July meeting twice. The second time was a glass of wine. And I would like to address some of the major concerns. Unfortunately, Trustee Ocampo is not here today. I know that she had lots of concerns, but I do want to address Trustees Mendoza. I absolutely am showing up to the wedding. I am 100% committed to this relationship that I have with Oasis. I am not backing down. I'm not filing for divorce. I am showing up to the wedding no matter what anyone else says. So I'd like to address that off. So good morning. Good morning. I'd like to begin this morning with a reflection. When I worked for Monterey Peninsula Unified, we hired the current superintendent of Monterey Peninsula Unified, who was appointed. One of his first actions was to initiate a comprehensive audit of every department. His goal was twofold: to highlight the numerous areas of excellence that were already in place and to identify where changes was needed. I deeply respected that decision. By laying everything on the table, all stakeholders can begin working from the shared understanding of critical first step toward meaningful and sustainable progress. Last August, Ms. Millar, the executive director of Oasis, and I recognized that our school also needed a similar moment of reflection and transparency. We initiated a WASC visit, 2 actually. One was a private company that we hired. It was just one gentleman, and then the full WASC team came in. To engage with our families, our financial advisor, teachers, and staff to review the school's history, identify strengths and bring to the surface any areas of improvement. However, that scope of the work became very clear, and the weight of addressing many challenges at once took a toll on Ms. Millar's health. And that's when I took this position on July 10th, 2025. When I came before you February 12th, I presented a clear picture of the changes required. In April, I returned with an update and shared our 60-day improvement plan. Progress was being made, and with the support of 142 families, we collectively decided to move forward into a new school year, reinvigorated and committed to making changes. And today I'm here to share an update on the positive developments that we've accomplished in that short amount of time. Maybe I just click the, I want to make sure. So our enrollment update. And our budget was set at 175 students, and I know we were hitting the magic number with.
Can you say that number again?
175. Our budget was set at 175. Our current enrollment is our kindergarten is full. And we currently have 6 on the waiting list. First grade is actually we're 2 over. So we are looking into a stipend for that first grade teacher. She was more than willing to take on 2 additional students to help with our financial situation. Our second grade has 2 spots remaining. Our third grade is full. Fourth grade has 4 spots remaining. Fifth grade, we just enrolled a 5th grader as well as a 1st grader. Yesterday was their first day starting. So those numbers have changed a little bit. And then 6th grade, we have enrolled 1 more 6th grader, totaling, well, that would be 173 right now. And with our wait list, it's 180 or so. I know there was a concern about the size of our 6th grade class being so small and whether we were making the correct financial decision in that case. So I wanted to address that. I know that's not on my slide. It was just a question that was posed this morning. So our 6th grade teacher, we did have some movement, families choosing to start a middle school and not keeping their child in 6th grade in our school. So they would have the full 3 years at the middle school level. So that was reduced our enrollment for that. We also only had 22 5th graders last year. If you do the math, that's our first grade of our COVID kids. So it was a rather small class to begin with. But we do have a full 5th grade class if we continue into next year. And again, all spots are we're either at capacity or just a few students shy. Fiscal update. So we do have a positive budget right now with just over 139,000. Our reserves, and of course, I didn't get our current reserve numbers, but those were at the time when this presentation was put together, was 828. Cash on hand, 672,000. We did receive a literacy grant. We sent a proposal over to Bruce Taylor, and he generously decided to grant our literacy program. Every dollar has been itemized in his grant. And we have a full report to get back to him how we're implementing this. So no funds are going wasted or unused. We absolutely are determined to show transparency on how we're using this generous grant. We know it's not ever counted on, but we definitely appreciate it. We have submitted our application for MC Gibbs. And I do have one add-on. We just got notice that we received the student support and a professional development grant of just over $54,000, and we got that on the 11th. Special education. I know this is a hot button. This is a hot button from the July meeting. We have hired a fantastic educational specialist who we stole from Santa Cruz County. Oops, sorry. Who holds a moderate to severe credential with 25 years experience in special education, holds a certificate from CSUMB as a specialist in autism, and behavior is her jam, as she says. She also has a special needs child in high school and has already turned the tide of our behavior at Oasis in this last week. We've only been in school for a week, but I actually have had to check to make sure my radio is on, because I have not had to chase a single child this year. It is unreal, unbelievable. Oasis has, well, at the time of this report, 37 students with IEPs. As of May 28th, all IEPs or plan review meetings were held. So every child and every family was very aware of their status, either through an IEP meeting or a plan revision that we needed to hold. All specialized academic instruction and occupational therapy will be in person this year. So again, Ms. Parker will be, as well as our 2 aides, will be helping to fill all of those SAI minutes. Parallel Learning will still support our speech and psych services. That's a company that we used last year. And then 3 students will continue to, 4. We had 1 return, 1 choose to return. So we do have 4 students will have one-to-one support, and then 2 students they share registered behavioral tech. So that's down from 11, if you remember from my previous report. And that's not due to anything about me being a Scrooge. That absolutely has to do with the behavior management that was put in place for these children. And I will say boys because they were all boys. So many of them, we celebrated their release of having this most restrictive environment for them. And now they are in our general education. And then governance, of course. I know that was a concern as well. We now have a full slate and very committed to supporting our little school the best way that they know how in very different areas of expertise. We're committed to that. Academic performance. Now, I know that this is, again, another sticking point. With Oasis being a constructivist school, teachers have been allowed in the past, historically, to create curriculum for themselves. And I don't want to say discouraged from using curriculum because that's not an accurate picture, but many teachers were not using a curriculum. They were creating their own project-based learning areas and not using Reach for Reading, which of course is out of date. In fact, when I went to get online access for our Williams compliance last year, we were never given the access to the online portion. And I've gone back and forth to Cengage. They're definitely on my list, but we never received that ability to do the online portion. So we did not go with Cengage for this year. We have adopted iReady curriculum for English language arts and math, and that curriculum does support. We also have the magnetic part as well. So iReady is an online diagnostic system that students take 4 times a year. And what iReady does that NWEA does not do, that was our previous diagnostic that we use, is it actually predicts how students will do on the SBAC based on these diagnostics. So we will have a clear picture of what our SBAC scores will look like in the for next year based on these diagnostics that are happening 4 times a year. So we feel really good about that. And then that's in place. Now, no curriculum is perfect. We all know that as educators, there are parts that we definitely would not like to see. But families are really excited about having iReady because they can just scan their QR codes and then they can do 20 minutes of reading and 20 minutes of math at their level for homework. So not only are they getting grade level curriculum, but they're also have lessons that are populated through iReady to get them to grade level. So students say who's in 4th grade, who's operating at a kindergarten level in reading, will have a set of lessons that progress up to the 4th grade. So they just keep working through the lessons. One thing that's really cool about iReady is if the student doesn't show mastery of that skill, it will not let them go on. It will go, let's try that again and let's review. And so they will keep bringing them back until they understand the standard that's being asked of them. Our English language development support is amazing. We have actually Mona Starling, who is our ELD teacher for our kinder through 3rd class, and then our kinder through 2nd, and then 3rd through 6th is we have another ELD teacher for them who are providing support for our English learners. Last year, we had 7 of our students become fluent in English, fluent proficient, and so we celebrated them as well. Another thing that may have not been noticed is that our teachers were so excited to do test prep. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking that I was going to brace for impact having them, but they were so excited to get into SBAC and do interim and formative assessments for our students to teach them how to succeed in these tests. And so again, we're unsure what our test scores will look like when they come out in the fall, but again, our teachers, I feel confident that our teachers did what they needed to do. They committed to an hour a week to do test prep with these kids. So that way they would be confident when they sat in front of the computer that they would know at least how to answer the question. Even if they didn't know the answer, they knew what was being asked of them. So what families are saying, they're excited about this upcoming year. I did ask some families. They'd like to see Oasis expand to the 7th and 8th grades. That was a conversation at a possible rechartering is they know that junior high is a really hard place to be. And to go from our students from 6th grade where they are very protected out into the big wild world of middle school, they were a little unsure by that. And we don't currently have a charter option at Oasis to support 7th and 8th grade. They feel welcome on campus and they're happy to volunteer. They believe teachers and staff truly know their children. They're impressed by the cleanliness of our campus, which I thought was amazing. If you have not been out to Oasis, please come because it is an extraordinarily clean little school. And over half of our students are transferred from traditional public school in the county. And I wanted to address trustee Ocampo. I'm a little upset that she's not here today because I know that she had a lot of concerns. Half of our population, over half of our population comes to Oasis from a traditional public school because their families are looking for something different. And that's usually because their children are not thriving in the traditional public setting, whether it's class sizes or too many options or just not enough support for their children. And so many families choose to come from that. And so with that, I'd like to take a moment to directly address the board's concerns from July regarding our special education program. And I want to be clear, no point while I have been employed as anyone at Oasis refused to service our students with IEPs, nor have staff just collected a paycheck. In fact, last school year, we invested approximately $31,000 per month solely for specialized academic instruction. This figure does not include additional costs for speech therapy, occupational therapy, behavioral supports, or psychological services. While this level of expenditure is clearly unsustainable for a school serving 183 students last year, it reflects our commitment to ensuring that all students receive the services that they need. The good news is that we have made meaningful progress and we've successfully provided appropriate services, reduced the level of behavioral support needed for 11 students, and completed all 36 required IEPs, 37 required IEPs. Additionally, we have maintained ongoing communication with families about their child's IEP status and provided translation services as needed to ensure full access and understanding. In response to trustee Ocampo's question about why a parent would choose to enroll their child in what has been labeled a failing school, I've invited one of our parents, Mrs. Rarang, to share her perspective. She has 2 children currently attending Oasis, and while I chose not to ask multiple families to speak today out of respect for your time and to avoid a parade at the mic, I believe Ms. Rarang's voice will offer valuable insight into the experiences of many of our families. Okay.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jacqueline Morga, or Rarang, yes, my husband's name. I am a proud parent of 2 Oasis leopard sharks. My 10-year-old son, Luther, is on the spectrum. And then my daughter, she is not on the spectrum, but they are just as equally as important. They're great. I just want to start by saying thank you to Oasis for the support and care they have not just given to my kids, but to me as a parent. When I imagine my past in the traditional public school, I imagine walking my kids into school on their first day, meeting their teachers, the staff, seeing the classroom that they'd be spending the majority of their weekdays, checking out the environment. But you would think that's standard in every school, but unfortunately at the time when we were attending our traditional public school, parents weren't allowed to walk their kids in classes under the excuse of COVID restrictions, and which made it difficult for me to observe the environment in which I was leaving my child in for 6 to 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. Our children would come home telling us stories that would raise high concerns with any parent. A group of us parents banded together and fought for a full year for better conditions. We saw little to no change. The last IEP I had with the traditional public school, I raised concern for my son and requested to have a one-on-one aid to help with his disability. They denied that change and I walked away knowing we needed more. That's when I made the decision to leave the traditional public school behind and look for something better. I found Oasis. The close-knit classes and genuine support for the kids here are unmatched. We were welcomed to Oasis with open arms and we had our first IEP. So sorry. And we had our first IEP. Everything had changed. My son was immediately set up with a one-on-one aid and his goals were adjusted to actually fit his age and skills. He is on the spectrum, so the improvement in his emotional and mental health is something I will never stop being grateful for. He's included with his peers in general education and he gets one-on-one support in every subject so that he can learn at his own pace, while receiving the speech and OT therapy that is necessary for his development. At the traditional public school, my son wasn't given that opportunity to shine and grow at the level he is capable of. With their integrated curriculum at Oasis, he has been able to thrive as well as his peers improve his amount of knowledge goes beyond his disability. Although there is always room for improvement, I am thoroughly impressed with his ability to learn and comprehend such complex subject matter. This opportunity was not given to him at his previous school, whereas Oasis has proven to care about the learning environment for all students equally, not just the neurotypical students. I've noticed his mathematics and literary comprehension skills have vastly improved since attending Oasis, which is reflected through his improvement of past and current test scores and report cards. My son used to cry every day about going to school. Now he's up in the morning with his backpack ready to go. My daughter flourishes here because she receives the one-on-one support that is necessary for her. She feels seen, she feels heard, and most importantly, she feels loved. My daughter knows every staff member, and all she talks about is how much she loves all of them and how they help her with the little things like handling her emotions and how there's always someone there to help guide her through the tough times. The office staff shows love and care when my children are not feeling well, and I get updates about everything, so I never feel out of the loop. In addition to my daughter's improvement in mathematics and literary comprehension goals, she's also learning very important leadership skills through school projects such as Boxland, where she has coordinated a simulated business with her peers, met deadlines, created products, and successfully sold out those products using those leadership skills and teamwork skills. Oasis has given the kids a fun learning environment where imagination and creativity is encouraged and used to make learning more fun and effective. It feels a lot like homeschool in the best way. There's a sense of warmth and community here that you just don't find everywhere. Teachers set realistic goals for students and make it fun to reach those goals, and I get to witness and support my children in reaching these goals. I appreciate the support and information given to me via Parent Square so I can help my children make the best of their learning experience in school and at home. Oasis has given many children a better environment, one where they can thrive and are set up for success. The teachers and staff support each other, and you can feel that positive energy trickle down to the kids. My children are genuinely more happier here and brighter since coming here. They wake up excited for school, and as a parent, that's all you really want. One thing I love is how open Oasis is to parents being involved. I get to volunteer all the time, whether it's in the classroom or at school events, and they put on the most fun, family-oriented gatherings. Everyone is included, and you really feel like you're a part of something special. For us, choosing Oasis wasn't just about academics. It was about finding a place where my kids feel supported and where our whole family could feel part of the school community and where every child feels like they belong. I appreciate the dynamic learning environment Oasis has provided to my children. Thank you for giving my family and so many other families a place where our kids are truly seen, supported, and feel loved. Thank you.
Thank
I'm so
you.
sorry. Do I answer questions? Sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you.
She warned me that she might get emotional. I was like, that's okay. We acknowledge all emotions. Our families choose Oasis for a variety of reasons. Notably, more than half of our current student population has transferred from traditional publics in search of something different and something more personalized and tailored to their needs. Oasis is the only in-person charter school in Salinas that does not separate students with disabilities into dedicated special education classrooms. Instead, we embrace an inclusive model, supporting our students with their general education environment, ensuring that they receive services necessary to access free and appropriate public education. As Ms. Archuleta and Dr. Gush shared this July, the board has the authority to revoke our charter. However, before exercising that authority, I respectfully invite you to visit our school. Spend time with our students, meet our dedicated staff, hear from our families, and see firsthand the work being done to make Oasis a vibrant part of the Salinas community. In 2026, Oasis will celebrate its 25th anniversary, a testament to the enduring impact of this small but mighty school built for kids with big ideas. We are hopeful and excited about the future, and we welcome your partnership in shaping what comes next. And again, with my whole chest, please come and see us. Please come and tour the school. Please come and talk to our kids. Please walk through our little strip mall school and see just how dedicated our employees are. Because if they weren't dedicated, I let them go. As a first-time administrator, it is very, very difficult to have to fire somebody. But I know, because I've had amazing leaders in my last 25 plus years, the impact that it makes when you have somebody not dedicated to the work and to our kids. It is a lot easier to fire someone and hire someone who truly does show that than it is to continue to try and grow someone who isn't committed. And I can guarantee you, every single staff member at Oasis is committed to our education. So if this is our last year, it will be the best year that these kids have ever had, because I will make it so. Questions?
Any questions?
Well, first off, when a year ago and then when we met, there were three concerns.
Right.
Number one was, we're gonna run out of money.
Right,
That's a big one.
right, absolutely,
Number two was special ed.
right,
And then number three was the test scores, and then related to the test scores is what it would mean for the renewal of the charter.
Right.
Because as we discussed, the rules are the rules, and depending on where the test scores are, so there's very limited things that the board can do in renewing the charter. It's basically a very short renewal or
Right.
to not renew.
exactly.
So, and then when we had the discussion about a potential rechartering or looking at another model.
Right.
So first off, I'm looking at Dr. Stanley. I didn't think you could do it, and you did. Yeah, you've done it from a money standpoint, to be perfectly honest. And I think Dr. Stanley, this is,
Agreed.
I mean, it was like this. And now it's like this from a money standpoint. So that's just fantastic. Kudos to everyone involved. From the special ed, and I will take the time, and I encourage my other board members to take the time to go visit. It sounds like you've kind of found the solution there. The test scores we'll have to see, but I'm getting to my question. What sort of discussions have you had about, do we want to attempt to renew the charter as is, or do we want to attempt another charter? I noticed you put up something about the 7th and 8th grade. I thought it was very interesting about the 6th grade. And it's almost like you have to have a 7th and 8th to have a 6th.
Right.
And it seems like, wow, we've been around for 25 years and we're just kind of figuring this out. So it's either you go,
Only through 5.
TK through 5,
Yeah,
or
right.
you go TK through 8. So can you give us an idea? And I know, it's kind of hard to see the forest through the trees sometimes, particularly when you're trying to fix all these things.
Yeah.
But what discussions have you had about what's down the road once this charter expires, which is next year?
26, 27.
26, 27?
Yeah. So yes, I absolutely can address that. We've had some rechartering meetings, and we've had some interested parents come in and have conversations about that. One whose family chose, they left Prudale Christian Academy and came to us. The father was like, absolutely, if we're going to recharter, we need to go to 7th and 8th, because he's very aware of what middle school can be like, especially if you've been raised in this close-knit bubble. It's hard. Our kids don't make it on the outside very well. So yes, so that would be a single classroom, again, for 7th and 8th. And of course, we would add with 7th and then continue to 8th, and then that would be the end. We wouldn't have change in classes, but we already offer enrichment. We already and electives. So that would be a possibility. Our tiny school right now is not at capacity. We currently, our upper grade building, we share with the Alcohol Business Control Board and Sheriff's Communications. So it's always very interesting. We have to set up a fire alarm and have to let them know ahead of time. So I'm not quite sure what our landlord would say about taking over the rest of the upper grade building. Currently, we do have one classroom that is available that our after school program, Life After School, does utilize. And it's not used during the day unless it's for, we have contracted with the Arts Council. So when we have music, art, and dance, they do use that classroom. So we would have to figure some things out. We'd have to shuffle some things and try and figure out how many bodies we can fit in a room. So there's that option. Of course, my big dream is that some generous benefactor would build us a school. That would be great, with actually soundproof walls. That would be amazing. But of course, dreams are dreams. We could look at other sites. I've been eyeballing that Orchard Supply hardware building for years. I'm like, why can't we just move in over there? That'd be great over there. So there are questions out there, but we do We would have space if we were to go to seventh. Currently, our resource teacher does have a full classroom and she does not use the full classroom when she's servicing children. So we could potentially move her to a different room, and leave that classroom open for a potential seventh and eighth, if that was the case. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of that?
No, that was, yeah,
Oh.
what discussions have you had
Yeah.
about, how are you going to handle going forward when this charter expires?
Right,
And-
exactly. And so from my understanding, this is my first time in the charter world. So from my understanding is that I definitely understand how one gets renewed. I definitely understand that. And now looking at our current charter, really the mission is this constructivist idea where children lead their learning. And while that is a beautiful idea, there's even a 25+ year educator doesn't quite know what that looks like in the classroom,
Mhm.
because you got to teach the kids to read. Whether they want to or not, you got to teach the kids to read. You have to give them math skills. So we find ways to teach these things where they are excited and they are engaged, but at the same time, we're absolutely committed to these kids' literacy and math ability. We would like to continue with project-based learning, but we also want to make sure that our curriculum is solid and that our kids are getting the resources that they need.
Yeah, and so I have a question for our staff. That sounds like a pretty big change from what's currently in the chart.
Right.
So if they were to basically say, we're going with a different curriculum, different, Pagago or whatever.
Missions, yeah.
Is that basically, is that a renewal or is that a new charter?
It's a material revision. And because it's the educational program, it would really be something that the board would have to review very closely, because at this point, that's what the petition said it was going to provide. Now, the nuances, bringing in iReady, providing professional development to staff in effective strategies for teaching students, that doesn't deviate from what their approach was. But if you were to say that now you're going to become an all arts school,
Right.
something
STEM
that,
school or
that's
something like
very, I'm just trying to do a black and white.
Yeah.
But the board we have to remain true to what the charter is that the governing board has approved.
Right.
And I would also say
Or the
that.
renewal?
Correct,
Right.
correct. Now, I'm glad that you made the point that we would have to wait until the charter has already served its full term before you can even look at a seventh and eighth. That is not even a question now. That's changing the charter. Also, the educational program and approach would be changing the charter. So we have to stay true to what was approved by the board.
And my last comment is the biggest concern was that you were going to run out of money and it would be a financial disaster.
Absolutely.
That from this board member's perspective, that is where you start to look at revocation, not waiting till the charter renewals and making a decision then, but
Right.
literally closing the school.
Yes.
And as looking at Dr. Stanley, it looks like you have rewritten that script. And so once again, well done on that. It
Thank you.
makes us all sleep better at night.
Well, we will do whatever we need to do for these little guys, because that's the number one goal. Any other questions?
I was just going to say thank you to the parent for coming. That's hard. It's making me cry. But the thing that is, and I really think that the environment of the school is super important. But we are so heavily guided by these regulated or constricted by the regulations. Things like test scores are so important. And the last set of test scores that we had from last November, and we don't know this year's yet, you were the lowest compared to every other district in our county. That's a bad fact. And unless you've made a lot of improvement, you're probably still going to be towards the bottom. And so a charter in general, I mean, I'm fairly new to charter schools and stuff, just a few years. But, it's great to have a wonderful environment, but you also have to teach the students. And unfortunately, we only are judging you on these certain test scores, and you're doing very poorly on that. And so it's hard for us, our hands are tied. So just, understand that we don't like it either. But when you're the worst, compared to the other, and I'm not trying to be harsh, I'm just saying it's hard to go from the lowest in comparison to the traditional schools. If they are providing better academics, even though they're not meeting other concerns of families, that's hard we still don't have as much, we don't have flexibility.
Absolutely.
In that way. So a lot is resting on things that has already taken place. I'm just thinking of things like, did all your students take the test, or did some opt out that are higher end students? That happens at a lot of schools. I don't know, but we may not have the choice. So I'm just putting that out there because we care too, but we may not have a choice. So
we definitely understand that. We definitely do. And I know our test scores from the previous year where we were in the middle bracket and they dropped last year. And we are all standing around going, what happened?
Right.
And the only solution that I could come up with in my head was the group of students that were testing last year, or the previous year.
Right.
There was a lot of financial cuts made in March, which really hurt the morale of the school. And it was pretty clear that things were changing and people weren't quite sure why. And again, it doesn't matter why it happened, but it is very clear that, and we're very aware.
I know you are, but I just wanted to say it out loud again, just because, we want to support a great school or schools that parents support. We have to look at this data.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's part of.
And I could just quickly follow up. We had the same discussion with another charter school where we did have the room full of parents
Yes.
who were very emotional, and we'll say the same thing to you guys. We said to them, our hands are tied. If you don't have good test scores, there's nothing we can do.
Right.
So don't go back. It's not talking to you, don't go back and say, oh, that darn board, they don't realize what a wonderful school this is.
Right.
Well, if your test scores are at the bottom, it doesn't matter.
That's
And really, what we said to them was, you got to instill a culture into the school that we got to do well on the tests.
Absolutely.
Yeah, teach the test. That's, no one but that's the way
We have to judge.
the deal that has been made between education labor and the charter schools is we won't try to make you go away legally, but you have to have good test scores. And if you don't have two test scores, then the kids go back to the schools that have the teachers who are in the union. And I'm just boiling it down. That's the deal. And so, as Annette said, our hands are really, really tight. If the test scores continue to be that low, the ed code just basically says you have to do this, this, and this, and eventually not renew the charter. So, sorry, just got that off my chest.
Absolutely. For the record, we absolutely understand that. It's very clear. And I've been clear with our families. Like I said, I am, if anything, I'm transparent. And it was difficult to go through this audit and realize I found out in 2015, they just didn't give the state test. They just didn't do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? How does this happen? So I am as outraged about test scores and about compliance as you are. I am absolutely a rule follower. And it was shocking. It was shocking as I go through and dig deeper into our archives, finding out how the school has been mismanaged is terrifying to me. But like I said, you know, at this point going forward, there's only thing I can do is be transparent and be the cheerleader that my teachers need when things get hard, and be the cheerleader to my students when things get hard. One little piece, we are now going to a house system, which, you know, Palma and all the other schools are doing, like Harry Potter, but not Harry Potter. We're using Long Clark Academy model. If you haven't looked them up yet, they're amazing. And so we sorted our students into houses on Monday. And then yesterday we had the union soccer team, the professional soccer team come in. And the kids got to ask questions, and we're talking about sportsmanship and what it's like to lose, and, you know, how these feelings can be, but it's for the love of the game. And then we sorted those union players into houses, and the kids went crazy. It was hilarious. And so when our test scores do come out for iReady, so we're testing now currently, and then when they come out again, we test them again in October. The union soccer team has asked all of our students who meet their goal to come to a game, and we're going to acknowledge them on the field, which is pretty incredible.
Very creative.
So that's in the works. And so we partners with this soccer team to come out 4 times this year. So we're pretty excited about that.
Virginia, you had a question?
Yes, well, first of all, I will be happy to visit the school. That's one of the things in my agenda to do, and I've been trying to do that for a while. Another question that I have for you is, how can I help you? I cannot speak for my, for the rest of the board members here, but I wanna know, how can I help? If there is anything that I can do for the school to be successful.
So I share this tidbit of information, not because I'm absolutely not a name dropper at all. I refuse to do it because you never know who's in the room, right? But one thing that PK Diffenbaugh and I had a conversation about was when he came on board, it was, you have a publicity problem. You have a media problem. MPUSD has a media problem. And so PK did everything in his power to change the outlook for MPUSD. And every media coverage, Marcy McFadden, she does an amazing job with their public face. Every day they are talking about how good they're doing. Every day they're talking about what's awesome, the improvements that the school is making, the improvements that the school is, that the students are making, the changes on the facilities. Every day there's something positive in the news about what MPUSD is doing. And again, when I talked about exceptional leaders, I take that to heart. So if you're out in the community and you see our cute little signs, our little recruitment signs in all the shop windows in downtown or wherever, just put in a solid word and say, you know, yeah, Oasis has had problems in the past. Absolutely. But there's a new sheriff in town and the tides are changing, and it will not happen under my watch. Every penny is accounted for. Every signature that I sign is something that I absolutely believe in. I won't sign something that I am not willing to put my name on. So if you're out in the community and you hear grumblings or you hear talking or like, oh yeah, that little school behind Costco, I always thought it was a private school. Oh no, actually that's Oasis Public Charter School. Did you know you could get a private education for a free tuition, or whatever we're putting out there right now as our hashtag. But you know, it really come and feel what it feels like in there. The energy is amazing, and we're really proud of it. So just put a good word out there for us if you can. Any other questions?
I don't know if it would be better. I doubt it would be better for all 7 of us to show up on the same day, given the size of the school. So maybe though, you can help us facilitate a couple of us coming at a time, or 2 or 3, because it's overwhelming when
7 people walk in your room and stare. I know what
Walks
that feels
into
like. I know
anything,
what that feels
and it's a
like.
tiny school,
Yeah.
so it would be better if 1 or 2 or 3 of us came maybe at a time.
Absolutely.
So that would be great.
We're happy to facilitate. that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And are you on our Inside Ed tour this year?
I will put them on the inside.
Okay.
I'll put
That
them
would be
on the inside.
great, because then the public can see them, more of the public can see.
Sure.
Just to add that we also had our first annual resource fair this last Saturday, had 17 providers come out. And the families were so impressed. We had over 100 families show up, over 100 students show up, gave away raffle prizes, packed our room full of resources, and just a really great start to the year for that additional support for our students and families, so, and our educators.
Any other questions?
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Case that needs me to be there at 11 o'clock.
RP Johnson.
Yes,
Good, how are you?
thank you.
It's very
And then,
important.
have you-
Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
very similar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You need to tell me.
No.
This first reading. Stay flat.
I think our audio is off. No.
Oh, for the YouTube,
YouTube,
right?
yeah, we need to turn our audio back on.
I keep calling it Zoom, but it's YouTube.
You will be
Oh, I'm
surprised.
not starting.
You will be surprised.
Interdistrict transfer appeal number 252603, Salinas City School District. And let's see, Dr. Gus, can you start with introductions, please?
I absolutely can. And first of all, let me welcome both the district and the parent. And for our board, I also just want to let everyone know that we have Constantino Silva. I keep wanting to make you a doctor. Sorry. Who will be our translator today. So he is assisting our parent who's with us. So what we'll do is I'm going to say everything in English first, and then I'm going to pause so that you can translate. Okay. So with us today, we have our staff members to the right of me. Oh, okay. You're going to do simultaneous, then I don't need to pause. Okay. Dr. Juarez, our deputy superintendent, Dr. Stanley, our chief business official, our executive assistant, Cindy Dunn. To the far left, we have our Chief Human Resources Officer, Lee Butler. And presiding over this meeting today, we have our board president, Heather Owen.
Morning.
Our vice president, Annette Eastek. Trustee John McPherson. Trustee Virginia Mendoza. Trustee Jaime Fernandez. And Trustee Mary Claypool. And just a reminder, and you'll hear it also from our board president, that all comments from both parties, please direct them to the board, as the board is the group that will be deciding on the appeal today.
I will dispense with the reading of the letter of appeal unless one or more parties request that the letter of appeal be read. We all received the appeal packet and have that in front of us. Dr. Gus, can you please state the powers of the county board in interdistrict attendance appeal hearings?
Yes, okay. So I'm going to apologize because this is a little bit long. And before I go on, did you get a chance to
I wanna,
Make sure the parent
I wanted,
understands.
so the dispensing of the reading of the appeal.
It's-
Will the parents still have an opportunity to
Oh,
make a
yes.
statement?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes, yes.
just-
So
Just
what,
this packet.
Got it.
yeah, so,
Okay.
so what we need the parent to know is that the board all received this packet with their full agenda. So they've already read it, which is why we're not rereading the whole packet at this moment. And now this next part is a procedural requirement for our county board. And so I'm going to be stating the powers of the county board, and it's kind of long. Do you have the? Okay, excellent. So what I will do is I will read the first paragraph and then give you time to translate, and then I'll read the second paragraph. So, powers of the county board. This is a hearing by the Monterey County Board of Education on an appeal filed by or on behalf of student Daniel Quinteros of the decision of the Salinas City Elementary School District to deny an inter-district attendance agreement for the student to attend Alisal Union School District for the 25-26 school year. The student's parent resides within the boundaries of the Salinas City Elementary School District. A summary of the case has been prepared by the County Office of Education and has been distributed to the County Board of Education.
We're following along in the
Yeah,
Spanish
we
translation.
provide a Spanish translation in writing
Excellent.
for us.
Okay. Section 46601 of the California Education Code authorizes the Monterey County Board of Education to make a decision on this appeal. The county board may also send the matter back to the district that denied the inter-district attendance request if there is significant new evidence introduced during the hearing appeal. The County Board Policy 5117.1 on inter-district attendance appeals directs the members to review the basis of the district's denial to determine whether there are unusual conditions that justify intervention by the county board. Also, granting the appeal must result in improving the educational and/or health interests of the student to such a critical degree that substantial positive results in the educational services to the student will result.
Okay, now I will explain the procedures for the hearing and then we will commence the hearing. First, the appellant may state the reasons for the county board to overturn the denial of the inter-district transfer, and those comments should be directed to the board.
This is the
And
time.
that's the parent.
Okay.
No, not yet.
I'm
not
just,
yet.
Okay.
I'm telling the procedures
First.
so, okay, then the district may state the reasons for the county board to uphold the district's decision to deny the inter-district transfer. Okay, then the appellant may succinctly state any final rebuttal. And then the district may succinctly state any final rebuttal. Then we'll open the hearing to questions from the board, and all of your answers should be directed back towards the board.
Las respuestas se hacen directamente.
And then we will deliberate. Okay, you know, what, we'll excuse both parties. We'll excuse both parties and deliberate.
You don't have to because it's not, it's an open session.
Well, then we don't have to. translate.
No, you have to translate.
Okay,
but
that's
we
all right. All
We
right.
just don't have to send the parents out because it's open
Open
session.
session.
Yeah,
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
all on YouTube.
All right, thank you. All right. Okay, then, all right, so we're gonna commence with the hearing. So the appellant may please come forward and state their reasons.
Vamos a pasar al micrófono.
Remove those plans boxes from the last
Buenos días. Mi nombre es María Aguirre.
Good morning, my name is María Aguirre.
Gracias. Estoy nerviosa.
Thank you, I'm nervous.
Estoy pidiendo. No. Sí, un momento. El traslado de mi hijo, porque a mí se me hace demasiado complicado porque, bueno, las niñas están en la Fremont, ¿verdad?
porque yo antes ya vivía ahí. Entonces, pues yo dije, "Ah, las niñas se me va a hacer, el niño cuando lo voy a escribir ahí se me va, pues ya tengo las niñas, pero pues me lo negaron. El niño ahorita está asistiendo a la escuela Loma Vista. Ujú.
So I'm requesting this interdistrict transfer. This is very difficult for me. We used to live in the Fremont, area, my two older girls attend that school. Now my son, we moved, and now my son is attending Loma Vista, Elementary School.
Sí, se me hace demasiado difícil porque tienen casi el mismo horario de las niñas. Entonces yo no puedo ir a una escuela y a la otra. Ahorita una prima me está haciendo el favor de llevar al niño, a las niñas, perdón, a la Fremont, pero ella solo puede ir por esta semana. Entonces al niño lo estoy yendo a dejar yo y tengo que pagar para que me lleven al niño a la Loma Vista. Y
So, I'm getting assistance this week in taking the children to the schools. The girls go to Fremont and the boy, now goes to, Loma Vista, but I'm getting help. I'm having to pay, to get help to take the, le paga porque lleven al niño.
sí.
To take the child, the boy to Loma Vista, and that's very difficult. She had also said previously, and my apologies, I failed to mention, that she thought that it would be an easy sort of accepted transfer request because the older girls already attend Fremont. And she didn't think it would be complicated to have the child, the kindergartner also attend Fremont, but it was denied.
También pues tengo que pedir libre a media hora para ir a recoger al niño a la Loma Vista. Luego las niñas, porque están en un programa que está después de escuela, ya salen a las 5:45, yo salgo de trabajar a las 5 de trabajar, entonces me da tiempo para ir por los niños. En cambio, al niño yo lo tengo que recoger. Igual en mi trabajo me descuentan esa media hora. Y al niño lo tengo que tener en mi trabajo y yo trabajo en cocina. No lo puedo tener ahí en el restaurante porque pues es mucho tiempo para él hasta las 5 que yo salgo. Él se desespera, él quiere estar en casa y pues mi jefa es muy buena gente y me deja tenerlo ahí, pero el niño se desespera mucho.
So the girls' schedule aligns with my work schedule. They stay after school until almost 5 o'clock, which is when I am off work. For the boy to pick him up after school, I have to request time off from work. And so I have to go pick him up and I have to take him with me back to work. I work in a restaurant. I work in the kitchen, but he can't be in the kitchen. It's too dangerous. And so he has to be outside, but it's very difficult for him because he, it's difficult to be just waiting for mom while she's working until she's done with work at 5 o'clock. Her boss is very understanding, but it is a difficult situation for her.
También tal vez ustedes preguntarían por qué no cambia a las niñas a la Loma Vista. Para mí es muy difícil cambiar a las niñas porque ellas ya están adaptadas a la escuela. Una de las gemelas, porque son patitas, está como, me dijeron que tiene un poquito de autismo, entonces ella está en terapias. Y ella está como muchas maestras y su psicóloga, se llama Cristal, su psicóloga, ella está muy con ella. Entonces, cuando a ella le dan como su ansiedad en la escuela, la pueden calmar porque ya la conocen, ya sabe, ella ya las conoce bien. Entonces, se me hace, no sé, como cambiar a las niñas para allá y tal vez a la Loma Vista sí tiene el VAS, pero es por el problema de la niña, porque ella cuando le da la ansiedad, ella llora mucho, quiere mucho a su mamá o a su maestra, a su psicóloga. Entonces, a mí se me hace muy difícil cambiar a las niñas y por eso yo estoy pidiendo si por favor me cambian al niño a la Frimo, porque mi casa no está lejos, puedo ir caminando a dejar a las niñas también. Y pues también ahí tengo quién me las puede ir a recoger porque está muy cerca.
You might be asking why I don't just transfer the older girls over to Loma Vista. My daughters they're twins, and one of them has been diagnosed with mild autism, and she's receiving special education services at Fremont. She suffers anxiety attacks. Her therapist there knows her, gives her the type of services and attention that she needs, and she is well adapted there. Additionally, even though we moved outside of the district boundaries, we live closer to Fremont Elementary than we do to, vive más cerca de la Fremont que de Loma Vista.
Sí.
De Loma Vista, Loma Vista le queda lejos.
Muy lejos.
It's far. She can walk to Fremont, but she couldn't walk to Loma Vista. And so this is a very difficult situation. She's requesting your approval.
Sí. Y me gustaría ver si, por favor, me pueden trasladar los niños. Si me consideran, por favor. No sé si se me está pasando algo más, pero muchas gracias por escucharme y espero que reconsideren mi apelación, por favor.
Thank you for your time. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything else, but thank you very much for hearing my appeal.
Okay, the district may come forward and state their reasons.
Good morning. Thank you for the chance to be able to meet with you. Board President, members of the board, and the public superintendent Gus, again, thank you for the chance to speak today on behalf of the Salinas City Elementary School District. My name is Ronald Dillander. I'm the Associate Superintendent of Educational Services in our district. And before I read any of the rest of the statement, I just want to really sincerely thank Ms. Aguirre for coming, for the love that she has for her children and her desire to do the best she can for them. And I really appreciate her taking the time off of work and other things to come and to hear this. Again, based on, we're asking the board to uphold our district's decision to deny the request for the interdistrict transfer. And again, based on a careful review of the application and its alignment with our acceptable law and policy. The district's denial to this request was issued in accordance with California Education Code Section 46600D and our board policy 5117.1. These guidelines outline very specific and limited circumstances under which an interdistrict transfer may be approved, which include if the student is a child of an active duty military parent, if the student has been the victim of bullying and there are no viable intra-district options, if the child has been expelled and is accepted by another district, or if the transfer is based on a parent's employment as permitted under Education Code 48204B. The Aguirre's family's request initially was based on maintaining siblings at the same school, as she indicated to us. The appeal also cites after-school childcare convenience. We understand these reasons, but they do not meet the statutory or policy-based hardship thresholds for approval. Our district offers high-quality programs at his home school, Loma Vista, as well as other sites within the district, some of which are much closer to her home than Loma Vista, and I would be happy to have Daniel as well as her other children attend those other schools, all of which are available in extended learning until 6 p.m. We also express willingness to place those siblings at another school to support their family's needs. I'm approving transfers on the basis of personal convenience without educational necessity, would undermine the consistency and fairness of our transfer processes, create a precedent for bypassing education code requirements, and impact our site level planning and resource allocation for the resident students there. This case does not involve educational program gaps, documented safety concerns, or health needs that cannot be met within our district. The district has offered reasonable in-district solutions to address the family's concerns about siblings attending different schools. Beyond the specifics of this case, I know that it's been shared with you before that the district is facing intra-district transfer outflow. For 24-25, intra-district transfers out totaled 468 students. Now that was down from 549 the year prior, but still well above sustainable levels. This represents about 5.6% of our total ADA, nearly double the allowable percentage of 3%, and moving the district closer to the 10% cumulative limit. This level of outflow erodes enrollment stability, impacts fiscal health, and jeopardizes program continuity. So again, it reduces ADA revenue, constrains staffing stability, and limits our capacity to offer specialized programs equitably to resident students. So again, in conclusion, we truly respect the Aguirre family circumstances. This appeal does not meet the legal or policy requirements for approval. Our district has the programs, capacity, and support structures to serve her son successfully within the district. We respectfully ask the county board to uphold the denial, ensuring consistency in applying education code, protecting our enrollment base, and preserving stable, equitable educational opportunities for all of our resident students. And thank you for your time and for your consideration.
The appellant may succinctly state any final rebuttal.
También Loma Vista no tiene el programa de bilingüe y estoy pidiendo también bilingüe para mi hijo porque las niñas en la Fremont sí hay y ellas están en las clases de bilingüe también.
So I'm also requesting the transfer because Loma Vista does not have the bilingual instructional model that Fremont has, and I would like that educational continuity for my daughters.
You may state any rebuttal.
Thank you again. I'm very, I think it's wonderful that she's looking at the educational options for her daughters as well. Closer to her home are two of our elementary schools, Sherwood Elementary, as well as Los Padres Elementary, that both have well-established dual immersion Spanish and English programs. In fact, the program at Los Padres School has existed for 25 years. Within the boundaries of where she works is also Roosevelt School. Roosevelt School, again, that's within the boundaries where she works. That school has had a program for the last 3 or 4 years, but they also offer a dual immersion program. And if those 3 schools aren't enough, we have 7 schools within our district that offer a dual immersion program for students in Spanish and English.
Okay, questions from the board? Yes, Virginia?
María. Sí. Tengo una pregunta para ti. Sí. ¿Cuándo comenzaste el proceso para pedir el transfer de tu hijo? En mayo. Perdón. Okay, nada más déjame hacer la pregunta en inglés porque me van a fusilar acá. I'm asking her when she started the process to ask for the transfer of her son. Fue en mayo.
In May.
Okay. ¿Y cuándo se te negó? When they give you the answer? No me recuerdo bien porque ya cuando iban a empezar las clases yo dije no me han hablado y entonces empecé fui al distrito y fue cuando me dijeron que me lo habían negado, pero creo que hace como 2 meses.
Hace 2 meses?
Creo sí, no me
I don't
recuerdo.
recall, maybe a couple of months
I'm asking her
ago.
when she get the answer to her petition. Okay, thank you.
John?
Yeah, I have a question for the district. So we have seen many of these. You have changed your policy, obviously. And the ones that we're seeing predominantly are you have siblings that have been approved, and now we have a sibling that's being denied. Going to Ed Code 46600, Section 2, the agreement that the interdistrict transfer agreement shall stipulate the terms and conditions under which interdistrict attendance shall be permitted or denied. The agreement may contain standards for reapplication agreed to by the school district of residents and the school district of enrollment that differ from the requirements prescribed by paragraph 1. The agreement may stipulate terms and conditions established by the school district of residents and the school district of enrollment under which the permit may be revoked. Does your agreement have these sort of stipulations that would give the district the ability, as we just talked about, how you know, there is opportunity for the two daughters as well, but, you know, you haven't, do you have this in your ability to, in essence, go on an annual basis so you can possibly, if you so choose, revoke the agreement for the older siblings?
Yeah, thank you for that. In the past, our district had much more liberal policies regarding transfers. Again, as we stated, looking at the number of transfers that are leaving as opposed to coming, we've really had to tighten those this year. This year, we said, you know what, if a student is a fifth or sixth grader, they've been at a school for quite a length of time, we don't want them to not be able to get finished or continue at their current school site. And so, yes, we did allow ones who have been there for some time to do that. The new transfers are the ones we've been denying. You're correct that we could say in the future, the siblings also, regardless of how long they've been there, will also be denied. Unfortunately, that's kind of the situation that we're in at this moment.
But it's not in the agreement now.
It's not in the agreement now.
Okay, thank you.
So as far as when the transfer was, when she received the notice that the transfer was not approved, the date I have on the form that she submitted is May 8th.
I have a question for you, actually. Yes. I thought you will give me the other answer, but when did you give her the answer?
When did she receive the answer? So I apologize, I don't know what date that was sent, but here is the transfer that she gave us. And it is signed at the bottom by Dr. Hernandez denying it, and it's dated as May 8th.
And what is the main reason why you guys denied it? The main reason?
Yeah. The main reason it was denied is because it did not meet the criteria that are outlined that we discussed a few minutes ago. She did say that the child that she needed, she'd like her children to attend the same school district. Again, that's not one of the 4 criteria that we're required to follow. We have in our current policy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing no more questions, the board will go on to deliberate. Yes.
I'm ready to. Can I make a motion to approve it?
Yes.
To approve that
Approve.
to deny the interdistrict or deny the,
To approve it, to
Approve the
transfer
to transfer.
the student to with the.
So you're making a motion to approve the student to attend Fremont. Correct. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, it's been approved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The board approves your son's attendance at the LSL school district. Did I say that right? Yes. Okay, so here, I'll read it correctly. Okay, student 252603 shall be allowed to attend the schools of the LSL Union School District for the 25-26 school year.
And I'll go over the process.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
We're up after. We need to schedule another one of these, right?
Yes.
And we have to have how much notice?
Well, if it's a special meeting, 24-hour notice.
Okay.
It is another one of these where the child is in limbo until the decision is made, but it didn't come in yesterday until noon. We tried to get the packet out to make it happen today, but not possible.
Okay.
So we only need 4 of us though to do
Yeah,
it.
we need a quorum.
Quorum, which is 4.
And so under the superintendent's report, I was going to ask you all for
Okay,
another
we'll
date.
wait till then.
Okay,
That's
okay. I believe now we need to move to our county committee
Yes, so,
meeting. Is that correct?
so we're gonna take a break from this meeting and move into county. committee.
Okay. And then you and I need to change, no.
Yeah,
I don't need to
just
sit
Just
here.
hand her
Change
the, hand her
seats,
the
just
hammer.
chair.
Change
Just hand
hand
me
her
the
the
hammer.
There we go.
Gavel,
Okay,
and you all have this agenda?
Yes.
Your
Right.
county committee agenda.
okay. So we're opening our Monterey County Committee on School District Organization. And we're switching from being the county office ed board to the county committee at 10:55 a.m. So, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Annette Eastek,
Here.
John McPherson,
Here.
Heather Owen,
Here.
Virginia Mendoza, Jaime Fernandez,
Here.
Mary Claypool, Sandra Ocampo is absent with notification, Dr. Janine Gus.
Present.
We need to do the.
Dispense with the
I'll
pledge of allegiance,
dispense
we've already
with
done
it, since we've done it already. Do I have a motion to adopt our agenda today?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, communications. Do we have any correspondence that?
Yes, we do. I kind of shared this already at a prior meeting, but I want to officially enter it into the record of the county committee that we were notified June 6, 2025, that let's see here, from the California State Board of Education, just stating on May 29th, 2025, the State Board of Education received a joint request dated May 15th, 2025, on behalf of the chief petitioners, the Greenfield Union Elementary School District, the South Monterey County Joint Union High School District, and the Monterey County Committee on School District Organization, collectively the requesters, which seeks a second continuance of the hearing regarding the 2015 petition for the reorganization of Greenfield Elementary School District, currently anticipated to be heard at the State Board of Education's meeting July 9th and 10th, 2025 meeting. On October 25th, 2024, requesters previously sought a continuance of the hearing on the Greenfield reorganization petition, then scheduled to be heard at the State Board of Education's November 13th and 14th, 2024 meeting, to the State Board of Education's January 15th, 2025 meeting. In response to that request, on November 1st, 2024, the SBE agreed to continue the hearing on the Greenfield reorganization petition, providing additional time beyond that originally requested. Specifically, the November 1st, 2024 letter stated that it is anticipated that the Greenfield reorganization petition will be agendized for hearing at the State Board of Education meeting scheduled for July 9th and 10th, 2025. In consideration of the requester's second joint request for continuance, the Greenfield reorganization petition will not be agendized, and it wasn't, for that State Board meeting July 9th and 10th, 2025. State Board of Education meeting. Accordingly, it is anticipated that the Greenfield reorganization petition will be agendized for hearing no later than the SBE or State Board of Education meeting scheduled for November 5th and 6th, 2025. Given that the State Board of Education has now twice agreed to continue the hearing on the Greenfield reorganization petition, as well as the timeline said petition has been pending for hearing, the State Board of Education is unlikely to consider any further requests for continuance. So that came to us from the State Board of Education staff. That's our correspondence.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Seeing that there's no public here, I will dispense with comments from them. And let's move to 3.1, the roles and responsibilities of the county committee on school district organization and the process and timeline for territory transfer.
Yes, okay, so I will be very quick at this because I think we've gone through this several times. But just a reminder that when we get a petition we have a very specific timeline that we need to follow. In regard to the petition that came as a 25% petition from parents who live in the Sprinkles School District that want to transfer territory to the Washington Union School District. That item then requires us to, or requires the county superintendent to first validate the petition. That process is actually conducted in partnership with the elections department. So part of your role and part of your responsibility next is to then have a public hearing in each of those two territories. And that's the minimum, but you can also hold more public hearings if you feel like the matter needs to be heard or you need more opportunities. In some cases, an additional public hearing is added like at the County Office of Education, which is kind of also just a neutral territory for folks that may not want to attend the public hearing in the two districts where we're holding. So the next part of your responsibility is to hold those public hearings, to decide if you want a third public hearing. And on our end, we have already contracted with Christy White, who will be conducting the feasibility study. What will happen when her feasibility study is completed and after all the public hearings have been held is we will hold another county committee meeting where Christy White will come and present the findings of her feasibility study to this county board, specifically the elements that have to be considered when you're making your decision. You will then decide on whether or not you feel that those elements were met and whether or not you would approve that territory transfer at that time. So that's your roles, those are your responsibilities, and that's pretty much the process. So that is what we needed to tell you for 3.1.
Okay. And then does anyone have any questions or? No, okay. 3.2 is a different matter.
Yes, so 3.2, just wanted to give you an update as to where we're at on that process. So as you heard through the correspondence, this item is scheduled to be heard at the State Board of Education meeting in November. We, over the last, I don't know how many months now, 4 or 5 months, whatever it's been, Dr. Stanley and I, along with our attorney, Marguerite Leone, and our auditor, Christy White, who did an updated feasibility study for this particular petition. The 4 of us have already attended the Greenfield School District Board meeting to give them an update on the process, how it works, just sharing the information about kind of where we're at and how things have changed since this petition was initially submitted back in 2015. We did the same thing at the South Monterey Joint Union High School District Board meeting. And we have been requested to attend King City Elementary School District to give them an update as well, but not an update on this particular petition, but an update as to, because connected to this process, what came out was that if this Greenfield petition were to be approved, then it would leave King City High School as the only school in the South Monterey Joint Union High School District. And Mike Fine from FCMAT wrote a letter to the State Board of Education noting his concern about the existing iBank loan and the fact that the South Monterey Joint Union High School District is still in fiscal recovery, and noted that if the Greenfield petition were to go forward, it would be better if there were 2 unifications so that it would not leave just one high school all by itself to be a district, which kind of planted the curiosity with those involved, is that the best way to describe it, as to what would this look like and can we explore that potential option. So what has been requested by the King City Elementary School District Board is a presentation from Christy White, Margaret Leone, and Dr. Stanley and I as to what are the pros and what are the cons of a unification between King City Elementary School District and South Monterey Joint Union High School District, meaning if the Greenfield petition moved forward and King City High School was left by itself. So what's the potential and what's the impact if there were two unifications, and not what is the impact on the high school district? What is the impact on the King City Elementary School District? So Christy White, again, has been contracted to do that feasibility study. And we're looking at sometime in October. We're still trying to confirm the date, working with the districts as to when Christy can make that presentation to that board. So that's where we're at on that matter. And we think there will be possibly more that will be transpiring in October in regard to that request as well. As we get more information, we'll call another county committee meeting and keep you posted, or we will cover this item at a future county committee meeting. Yes.
So the scenario we're looking at is the Gonzalez is gonna unify. Greenfield's gonna use, I do it every single time. Greenfield's gonna unify. I'm feeling pretty confident in that, considering, you know, that it's been appealed to the board, et cetera. So that would leave a single school high school district, and then, which is South Monterey County, which would be King City High School and the King City Elementary District. And now this discussion is that to kind of, you know, get them in the same room and start to discuss what it would be like if they unify. Do we know, can the South Monterey County district survive with with just one school?
Okay, so that's a good question. Can they survive, stay financially afloat, continue to operate? Yes. I mean, we look at Graves Elementary School, you have 32 students and they're surviving. They're struggling, but surviving. However, what Christy White points out in her report are some concerns. And those concerns would be, if the Greenfield unification occurs, senior staffing, if most of the highest paid staff members actually end up staying in King City, then that is financially, that would be a challenge for the district. Yes, they would have to make cuts. And if they had to make cuts, then that could reduce the programs that are offered to students, programs and services for students. So that's the caution. It's not that they couldn't do it, but if that.
It would be hard.
It would mean a reduction to what they know now as far as
School programming.
school programs and
Right.
services and that's. So that is why Mike Fine suggested in his report that 2 unifications would be better than just one for that matter. And I do just want to state that we have no idea how the State Board of Education's recommendation will land, whether they would be recommending the Greenfield petition or not. So it could go either way. We have heard very clearly from that community that another petition will come right back again to start the process again if this particular petition is denied.
Just to clarify, since I have some experience with this, it's the state Department of Education's recommendation that the State Board of Education is under no requirement to approve regardless of what the recommendation is.
Right. The state board staff could recommend a no-go and the state board could still approve it.
Yes.
Or they could recommend an approval and the state board could still deny it.
And I just realized that I probably am gonna have to go to Sacramento on the 5th and 6th of November, is that right? Because that's when the meeting is?
Yes.
Okay. So I better put that on my calendar.
Yeah, reserve the date because
It's 2 days?
well, the
You don't
state
know
board
which day
meeting goes 2
it's gonna be.
days and we will not know which day this item will be placed on yet.
Okay,
They don't know yet.
for a while. Okay.
But what was very clear from the letter is there will be no more continuances.
Right.
And I should note that the state board staff is tracking everything that's happening very carefully. So after every meeting, every presentation we make, the minutes of those meetings have been sent to state board staff. So I do think that they're curious to see if there is interest from the King City Elementary School District in unification or not. Again, I don't know how that will impact their decision or their recommendation, but they are tracking the matter very carefully and are very well aware of what's happening here at the local level.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you for that update. So moving on to we don't have any unfinished business, non-action. So moving on to new business action items related to the item that you just explained to us on 3.1. We have to select some dates for the citizen petition for Spreckles and Washington
Public hearing, yes.
Union for the public hearings.
Yes, and we have reached out to the district
Mhm.
and they have given us 2 possible dates that work well for them. If they do not work for the county committee, we can reach back out again, but the 2 dates that would be convenient for Spreckles would be either September 4th or September 11th at 5:30. And we do not yet know if it would be held at Spreckles Elementary or Buena Vista, but the superintendent did indicate it would be one of those 2 schools in the auditorium, and that he'll confirm once he knows the date.
Do
we have times?
5:30 for that board meeting.
On the 4th of September.
Or the 11th.
11th.
Yeah, because the 4th is the day before the county board conference. And for those of us who are signed up to do the MIG for county, that's the same time.
Yeah, I would shoot for the 11th.
Yeah, maybe the 11th would be better from my perspective. No, not better for Jaime.
Tuesdays, Thursdays from 4 to 8, I teach. I don't,
Okay.
neither one of those.
But we could do it without Jaime
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
needed to.
You just have to
It
have. a
wouldn't be the
quorum.
same.
No, it wouldn't.
Just
Of
let you
course,
know.
Of course, every comment that comes out during public hearing will be shared with the entire county committee.
Right. Mary Ann, Virginia, are you okay? with that?
I'm okay
11?
on the 11th.
On the 11th. Okay, what time was it again?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay, so 9/11, 5:30, and then we will let you know whether or not it will be Spreckles Elementary or Buena Vista.
Now, we have to do one at Washington Union as well.
Yeah, that's the next one,
Right.
and we have the dates for that district. They are requesting either September 2nd or September 9th at 4:00.
So, we're just not gonna have money.
9/2 or 9/9
9/2 or 9.
at 4, and theirs would be at the San Venancio multipurpose room.
4.
At 4.
Okay.
It would,
And if
4
you
o'clock,
need
huh?
to change, it will, that's what they were suggesting. If you
No.
want to change the time, it's your meeting. So
Yeah,
you can make it
yeah.
whatever time you want.
Trying to get to San Venancio at 4 o'clock from either direction is,
It's bad.
yeah, you know, we either need to do it
Later.
or,
Early in the morning, before
well,
lunch.
early in the morning, it's also really hard to
Before
get.
lunch, like
Yeah,
11 or
sometime around midday or later in the evening.
Public.
So
So
do
about
we,
time.
Do we have an estimated time for the meeting? I mean, how long it's gonna take?
No, because we don't know how many people will want to speak on the matter. But I am guessing you're going to probably, all the people who live in that territory, I don't know if they are gonna wanna go to the Spreckles board meeting to speak, or if they're gonna wanna go to the Washington Union board meeting to speak. So we don't know, but there could be, you could have 100 people show up, you could have 5. Like, we just don't know how, it depends on how strongly the community feels about the matter. As to how many.
Maybe 2-3 hours.
So for me, if we do early morning, 9, 10 o'clock, I can attend. Just understanding that I need to be in Soledad by.
But I think it's harder for the public.
The community won't be
The
able to.
community, you know, people who work
And that
during the day.
multi-purpose room wouldn't be,
Right.
Oh,
they
right.
could move it to their boardroom, but their boardroom is pretty small. At Washington Union.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they gotta be,
They have to be evening if it's a
yeah,
public.
6 o'clock at the earliest.
Or, yeah, 5:36.
Not
You want
even
6?
5:30, I'd say 6 o'clock at the earliest, because
Just because of the traffic.
oh, yeah, it's, and, you know, it's pinched both ways at that point, so
Okay.
So 6?
6 at the earliest.
6 if we're, you know, and maybe it would be a different date then, or maybe we'll just say this, which one, the 2nd or the 9th then?
You have to decide.
Well, neither of those 2 days work for me, so.
9th works for you, Mary? Oh, this is hard. Okay,
9?
Does
I
it have
can-
to be a Tuesday, Thursday?
No, if you want us to request another date from the district, we can request another date. These are just the 2 dates they
Could we
suggest.
request a Monday, Wednesday?
Yeah, we could ask them to move it to a Monday or Wednesday, and then I can send out or let's do this. Let me text him right now and see if he can give us another date, because trying to gather you all up and get a date is
By the
very
end of
difficult.
the day today, maybe, or before we
Yeah,
leave here.
Before you leave.
That would be great.
Let me get that. And then while we are texting him, can you type that question to Eric?
Do we need to
Tell
change
him.
this time to 6 too? The 5?
Spreckles is, it's not as bad, because you get off whether, you know,
Okay.
you get off 68. You have to come around if you're coming from the bay, if you're coming from the peninsula versus coming up 68, but Spreckles isn't so bad.
Okay. I don't know traffic in that area, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the worst spot right there.
Yeah, 68 is where the problem, and San Benancio is right in the middle.
Okay, and then,
And then while we're waiting for Eric to reply.
No, not Eric, we're good with Eric, we're good with
Oh, shoot.
Spreckles
I
on the
just
11th.
sent it to the wrong one. I'm so sorry. Yes.
in the meantime, while we're doing that, we also, would the committee be wanting to have a 3rd public hearing here?
Yeah.
So it's a neutral location.
It's my trustee area, I don't see the need for that.
Okay,
They can either go to Spreckles or they can go to Washington.
okay, all right. So let's not make it more complicated.
Right.
Let's keep it with the 2 that we have. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, can we go back to the other board meeting and then come back to the county committee?
Yes.
I mean, it's only a
Yes.
date anyway, although we are supposed to take action. Is that, do we have to vote on this? On the, like the Spreckles, we came up with one?
Yes, Freckles, and then Gina will just reply.
Do you want me, shall we take action on the Spreckles date? Or,
Yeah, yes, Jaime.
Jaime?
Well, my question was, can we do either one of them, both of those on a Monday, Wednesday?
Oh.
So that I can attend both of those meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, it's our meeting.
Yeah.
They have to do what we want.
Okay.
So do you want a different date?
We could
You want-
try
yeah,
that.
Jaime wants
Wednesday
to.
will be working for me. Mondays is impossible.
Yeah,
Mondays,
yeah.
so Wednesdays are
Wednesday.
okay for you?
Wednesdays are good.
Are Wednesdays okay for you, Mary?
No,
It depends on what Wednesday we're
Which
talking about.
Wednesday? Okay, but some people have regular
Yeah.
problems. Yeah,
Wednesday, yeah. So Wednesday for either.
Wednesday for
For either
Spreckles
one.
as well. Well, since we're checking,
Yep,
why
I'm-
not?
I'm
And then
texting
we
Eric
can
right
have
now.
Jaime there too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just give us a second here. Eric is
Okay.
gonna give us a new date right now.
Thank you for considering that.
No,
Well,
of
I think
course.
I think
That
it's
makes
important that
sense.
as many of us are there because.
Well, and also because we were making the decision.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if some of you aren't there, then it's hard for you to make the decision. Even if you hear the minutes later, it's
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah, and you know, these are the things, these and charter school
Are the tricky
are the
things.
ones that get people the most.
Riled up.
The most riled up.
Thank you for wanting to be there. Okay, so since we're just waiting to hear back on the Wednesdays, does,
No, go ahead.
no, shall we go back to the regular board meeting? Or-
That's what I was gonna say. Eric is texting right now. How about
Okay.
9:22? He's asking.
9:20.
9:20.
Monday, 9/22.
Oh, that was the day.
No, not for me.
9:15?
No,
No Mondays.
No
for
Mondays.
Virginia.
There's no Mondays, Virginia, only
So
Wednesdays.
now we're
Wednesdays.
saying
Okay,
only
only
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Give us a Wednesday,
Sorry.
Eric.
Okay.
So just
Well-
say, not the 22nd, can you look at only
Okay.
Wednesdays from now on?
So if
Well-
everybody looks right now, we have a county board meeting on September 10th.
Right.
If I ask him, could he, if that county board meeting is sure to end by 6.
Because that's the afternoon meeting.
Because
That's
it's
the
the
afternoon
afternoon
meeting.
meeting.
It is, then we could just drive over.
Yeah,
So let me
Yeah,
see if you
that
can
would
do
be
9,
convenient.
10,
yeah, absolutely.
9, 10 at
What do we
6:30.
do?
How
They're doing
about-
so bad.
Can we do this? Can we also?
On the 10th after our meeting, you say?
Yeah, it's afternoon.
We
board
work it
meeting.
out.
Yeah, we have that's an afternoon meeting. Starts at 2:30.
So right
So-
after our
Yeah,
meeting,
yeah,
we
just get in the
can,
car and
Yeah,
go.
it starts at 3,
that
so,
will be okay for me.
yeah, so that would be the 10th.
That'd be one.
Okay,
We're looking
so,
at September 10th?
Yeah.
The day we already have a meeting.
Right, so what, right after the meeting,
Get in the
we'll
car.
get in the
Go
car
there.
and drive to
Yeah.
Spreckles.
For just Spreckles or Washington Union, whichever.
Well, that was Spreckles.
That's-
Okay.
So,
And then,
so I'm waiting for him to just text back really quickly. and
Take
say,
care.
yep.
she'll send the dates out.
And
yes,
then-
we will.
3rd or the 17th for Washington Union, 6 PM or later.
I'm out on
Okay, 17th.
17th. 17th, let me see if Gina can. do
The 17th, wait, I don't think I can make the 17th. It says.
Okay,
24th?
No, that 10th?
24th I can.
the 24th? Could everybody else
So
do the
we cannot do it
24th?
on the 10th?
No, this is
No,
a
this is
different one.
there's two that we have
Two,
to
okay.
schedule. So we have one maybe on the 10th and then we're looking for
okay.
a second date.
How much time do we have to schedule this thing? I mean, is 24th too deep or too late?
No,
Okay, 24th is fine.
I think we're still good.
24th is good.
Okay.
Wait.
Calendars
just
are
double
the
check.
worst.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, except for the actual meetings.
This will be interesting.
This will be interesting. Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, no, have to do it before 9:21. I'm wrong.
That's
So
what I
we
thought.
do both of them. Shoot, then 9:22 doesn't work either. Has to be before 9:21.
9/17 doesn't work?
9/17 does.
But the 10th.
So we have one 10 and 1/17?
I said, I can make it later in the day in the evening on the 17th. I
What time could you
probably
make
can't-
it?
I'm in Pebble Beach till about 6.
Then I would say make it 7:30 start or 8 o'clock start.
Oh, that's painful.
It is, but
I mean, I'd come straight, so 6 6:45 or 7?
Make it 7 o'clock.
I think I can
Again,
make it.
it's traffic
Oh,
is,
the traffic.
you know, I would say,
Oh,
you can make 6:45,
do you think I can
So
make
what
it?
about at 7
Make
p.m.?
it at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.?
7 PM
So-
on the 17th. would be
So
okay.
Washington Union is 7 p.m. on the 17th.
Okay.
Or
we will-
Washington?
We will try to get the school for that day.
They're tracking you today, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
superintendent's
He's
not
in
available.
meetings right now.
And then I'm gonna go back one more time. On 9:10, that's when we're doing Spreckles.
Freckles, yeah.
If they can do it,
Yeah.
can they do it then?
Because the little bubbles are going. Blue, blue, blue. Give me one little second for these little bubbles to give me
Yeah.
words.
Tiny boat.
And not to be, a hard case, but we do have a limited period of time and they
Because we
really,
have to be responsive to.
yeah, they have to be,
Oh, they have to
yeah,
listen to us because it's our meeting.
it's our meeting and we have to have them done by the 21st.
Okay.
It's just that because we have to do it in their
Yeah,
home.
understood. Understood.
Okay. Oh no.
That's never good.
Okay, so here's his reply.
Ooh, see,
Eric, I'd like to hold it after our 9:18 board meeting. We haven't really had a chance to discuss this issue publicly yet.
can't hold it after the
We'll
9:18
start
board
in
meeting.
on 8:21 when you join us, but I'm sure we'll have some fact gathering to do.
Can we look at doing it on a Friday?
I think it's good.
You can do it whenever you want to do it.
Yeah, we could
As long
do,
as
we
the
have
school's available.
9:19 is free. Dr. Gus, aren't we going there next Thursday at the board meeting to talk about this?
I think we
Is he
are.
confused about the date?
9:18. Hold on one second.
Yeah, next month, not this month, or
Wait, it's on 19, we're going there.
Wow, this is complicated.
Hold on, I'm trying to follow.
So.
Oh, we're,
Yeah.
okay.
It's gonna be very out of the bag.
Oh, I wonder if he is confused. Because yes, we are going in August.
Right.
Right.
Everyone will know by September 10th.
Yeah.
yes.
I'm wondering if he just typed as a typo.
Well, he may
We
have just been
are-
thinking of. But I'm not going to that one. Are we still? Right?
No.
No. I don't need it right there.
With this.
Okay. How about we do this? Because I do think maybe he's confusing and not, he's getting August and September confused. But I'm not sure we're gonna be able to settle it over text. But I think if I can talk to him and explain the situation, then hopefully he can find one of the two schools that would be available. So if we want to say 9:17, and then what time did you?
Okay,
9:17
9:17 is for Washington Union.
Washington Union, I'm sorry, and then 9:10
It's for Sprinkles.
for
Spreckles.
Spreckles.
After this meeting, so 5:30 at the other place?
5:30 or 6 for Spreckles.
We don't start till 3
3,
Right,
that
4.
day.
make it quick, the late meeting.
I always try, but I
I'll
never
work-
succeed. We're already always out here late.
Let me work with Eric, but it's as long as he can give us a spot, I will work it out with him. So
Okay.
for
So
now,
those are
take the vote
proposed
on
dates.
9:10, and if for some reason I'll work it out.
Okay. So.
So
And I'll get back to you on which school it would be at.
okay, and then we're gonna try for 9:17 at 7 p.m.
Yeah, whoa, I see what, wait. I see what his concern is now. Hold on, sit tight. We are going on 9/17 to explain the process to his board.
No, we're not. We're going on the 20th. We're going next Thursday. That's the date that you gave me. Don't mean to sound like. I'm,
So why is he?
He's confused with the date.
Okay, let's just go with it. Let me
Okay.
talk to him about this.
okay, so I make the motion that we have our public meeting for the Spreckles School District at, what did we say, 6 o'clock on the 10th of September?
Mhm.
And the Washington Union School District at 7 o'clock on the 17th. No third meeting necessary.
So on the 11th, we still meeting.
Um,
9:10.
So not 9/11, so that will be 9.
It was 9:10 after
9:10.
our
9:10.
board meeting.
And 9/17.
Only 2?
Only 2.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll
for that?
second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
With the understanding that we may have to adjust depending on what the reaction
Right.
is of the school district.
Right. But what undesirable dates are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Mondays. So we got Wednesdays and Fridays.
And as Mary said, it depends on which Wednesday and Friday, even for those of us who
Sure,
don't
sure.
have a standing.
But we do have to get it done prior to Sunday, the 21st.
All right.
All right. That sounds like we at least have a tentative plan at this point. Okay. All right. So I think we are adjourned for the county committee, going back to the board meeting.
All right, so I'm going to reconvene the board meeting at, oh my goodness, 11:30.
Mm.
And we are moving to item, I believe we are on item 8.4. Double check. 8.4, first reading of changes to board policy 9240, board training, page 129 in your agenda. Dr. Forrest.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. If you go ahead, you probably noticed the red, or it may appear different if you're electronic, but it's a different color on the board bylaw. We made some adjustments as recommended by the board policy committee and different discussions that we've had regarding a couple of different items that are noted for you in terms of the board members' terms. And then participation in ethics training, which is we had talked about before. And then conditions around funding for professional development and travel expenses for each individual board member as discussed. And then in particular, the discussion on page 2 of 3. This is the dialogue that we had regarding a county board member prepaying for conferences as necessary. It's expected that once registered and signed up for a conference, that the attendance would happen by the board member, and intent that they cannot, if there's a deadline that they can make the cancellation of the registration, that would be handled. But otherwise, if the registration could not be canceled, that the board member is expected to reimburse the cost. And so go ahead and read, I know you've read through that, the changes that are listed, but I just wanted to point those out for you. And then there's a condition I've listed as well that no more than one board member can attend the same out-of-state conference. And it shall be limited to one every other fiscal year for any single board member. And those were the changes that we caught from the board policy committee, although I would certainly invite anyone from the committee to add if necessary.
Are there any questions or comments?
Only comment is good work, committee. I know this one's been extremely hard, and so well done. Time to move on, in my humble.
Okay. Well, we're trying. So that was first reading only.
Yes, correct.
Any other questions or comments? I have two questions. One kind of doesn't relate to this, except that it mentions the ethics training that's, excuse me. We need to do it by January 1st. And I don't know that we keep saying that there's going to be one.
You all got an email about it?
Did I?
Did
Oh,
we?
no.
Human Resources, Melissa Luna, stated that she had sent out an email to the board members who hadn't completed it yet. So if you want to check back with me or
Luna.
check for, yeah, Melissa Luna, and let me know if you didn't
Do you know
receive it.
when that would have come?
Just this last week.
Yes, Lee's right here.
Yeah, it was last week and it would be coming from Keenan Safe Schools email.
Okay, Keenan Save Schools. All right, I will check on that.
Didn't you already
I-
provide your certificate?
I think I did.
You did,
Okay.
and I think Annette
No, I
did too,
got-
so you won't.
No, I got the email and
Because
I
we were
took
told
it
that
that day
Yeah, okay.
and
Is that
it took,
online?
yeah, it's online and it's free. So,
John, you might want to do it again too, because I think yours is getting close to running out, your 2 years.
Okay,
Because you took yours way long ago.
I don't think I did. I
No?
thought I did
Okay, I
that
thought it
last
was,
year, but
I thought it's been a year and a half.
can somebody send me the email?
It'll be 2 years.
Yes.
If you can ask Lee to
Okay.
do a resend and put it at the top of their email.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it won't be coming from Melissa Luna. It'll be coming from Keenan Safe Schools.
Okay.
So
Thank
check
you.
your junk. Your
John
Oh,
probably-
okay. Maybe
John
It's not
most
from
likely did
MCOE.
not
Okay.
receive it because he had taken the training.
Right.
So
I'll check to
We
see
may
when
need
his
to-
certificate expires.
thanks. It's, I
Thank you.
believe, March next year.
I'm currently scheduled to take it in December at Sacramento.
Good man.
You can.
But this is online if you want to take it online.
Yeah, send it to me.
Okay.
I'll look at it.
Yeah.
In case I fail.
And that one is already paid for, so I don't know,
Well, yeah, so I'll do it in December,
do it,
but I'd
still do
like
it.
to see
If you
that.
can do this one, because this one's free, but since you already signed up for that one and you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Unless you want
well, we
us
might be able to get our
try
money
get our
back
money
for that. Yeah.
Will you send an email to me, please?
Yeah, it was sent to everybody.
Oh,
So
okay.
just check your junk
Because I
or your
don't
spam.
recall.
Yeah,
I
it was
will.
sent to
I will.
everybody who we were told did not have it yet.
Okay, so that was really off topic. I apologize. The other question I had on page 2 in the new red text, the very kind of, I think the last sentence of the new red text, the board member may request within 2 board meetings to be excused from reimbursing the county office based on extenuating circumstances. Do we need, it doesn't say who the request goes to. Do we need to specify that the request comes back to the board?
We can do that.
I don't, just to make it more clear who that request goes to.
So the board member may request of the county board or
Make a request to the county board, I guess. Something of that matter. So it's more,
They make a request to the county board within 2.
yeah, just to clarify who that request goes to.
Directed to the board president.
Thank you. Good. Washington Union confirmed,
Okay, that's the,
9/17 at 7 p.m.
okay, perfect.
1770.
Okay. Any other questions on this item? All right, we are going to move on. Oh, we need to adjourn to closed session to hear item 8.5.
Okay, and what we can do is just stay here, turn on YouTube and put the sign out. On session. I'll get the other one. Let us know. Returning.
Yes.
There you go.
You ready? Yes. Okay, we're returning to open session and I want to report that no action was taken in closed session. We're moving on to item 9, superintendent's reports, 9.1.
Yes, so I am going to share with you the list of all the major events that I have attended this month, but the two things that I wanted to give an update on, the big items are, I have some two pieces of very good news. I think one of them you already heard, and that is that the Monterey County Office of Education was selected by the chamber as the Business of the Year for Education. And just want to thank all of our board members who were there in attendance that evening. We do have the little award in the over here, but I wanted to pass down the resolution that we also received that night. We'll hang that proudly in one of our hallways. And just very, very proud of the great work the county office is doing, and so thankful for the visionary leadership of our county board. And then the second piece of really great news is that our very own Dr. Colleen Stanley is being recognized as the recipient for the Star Award for Service on the Business and Administration Services Committee, BASC. And what this is every year, all of the chief business officials for the County Office of Education, as you know, they work together through BASC, which is the subcommittee from the California County Superintendents, on all things business, finance and business related for county offices of education. And then each year they recognize one or two individuals in that area as providing amazing leadership. And this is voted upon by all of the chief business officials in that group. So being selected by your peers is a very, very big deal. This is a statewide award. We're just so very proud of Colleen, very, very well-deserved award. And she will be going to San Diego in September to receive this recognition. I'm going to be so proud to be there to honor her and celebrate her. So congratulations, Colleen.
Congratulations.
Yay. And so those were my two. Also should just add for the record that I had mentioned at a prior board meeting that the Graves School District had engaged in a contract that I was a bit concerned about for an independent study program. I did receive notification from the new district superintendent there that that contract is now null and void. They will no longer be moving forward.
All right, thank you. Okay,
Sorry. And your calendar of events is there in front of you. So, and all the flyers attached. So if there are any events that you would like to go to, please make sure to let Cindy know so that we can get you registered.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry. Two more. I'm sorry. I'm off my game today. I'm not feeling well. I apologize. I wanted to answer John's question about the costs for CSEA. The total, or sorry, for CSBA, the total cost of that contract is $16,072
And
annually.
3,000 of that is gamut,
Is gamut. Yeah.
which I assume we need. So, Madam President,
Yes.
as you go to this, you're going to this thing this weekend? or-
Yes.
Okay, so this is, you know, the compare and contrast is we pay 16,000 right now for CSBA. We pay, what did we say, 62,000 for
63,000.
63,000 for California County Soups. The startup cost for ACCBE was what, I think 5,000, 6,000, something. What, is it gonna continue to be that, or do they wanna do something else?
Yeah.
And what will that cost be, and what would
What are we gonna get from that?
Yeah, what are we gonna get? from that?
Yeah.
And then my real last item, promise now, is we need to find a date for the next interdistrict transfer request that
Oh,
came
that's
in.
right.
And this one is also going to require translation, correct? Yes. So the question is, do you make this child wait till your next board meeting, or do you want to add a special meeting? And if so, can we find a date?
When did this child go back to school? And which school is the child going to?
You know, I need to grab it. Let me go grab the paperwork because I'm so, my head's still wrapped around this one.
No,
It
I
was-
understand.
It was all very quick. I know that it was a quick turnaround, so it was within.
But they're in school now.
Yeah, they're in school
They
now.
started now, but are they attending
Right now, they're not attending as far as I know.
They're not attending. They just didn't go back to school. Okay.
Similar situation.
I would suggest special
It's a
board.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
And can you throw out some possible dates?
Okay, wait. I'm sorry.
And we only need 4.
For this one,
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Poor kid.
I mean, I could do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
The kid's not in school.
I can't do it.
we
tomorrow.
can't, we have to give them 24-hour notice though, so it wouldn't be
Right, so-
noon till tomorrow.
Yeah, would we meet tomorrow afternoon?
Could we do Monday?
I can do Monday.
I can.
Oh, you know what?
Mondays.
Oh, yeah, I could do Monday.
Let's do Monday. Does Monday work for?
What
Not For
time?
me.
Can we do it
No,
at
not for you.
8? We have a leadership team meeting on
Can you
Monday.
do it early Monday?
No, I start at 6 a.m. my class.
Oh, that's early Tuesday morning?
No, I could do 8. Can we do Monday at 8?
I could.
Everyone else?
I can't.
I can.
You guys can.
It's gonna be kind of fast.
It's-
Is there any way we can wait for next
Oh, you
meeting?
know what? I have to take, my chauffeur left to Iowa State. I don't have to take Ben to school. Oh,
Wait.
gosh. Okay, can't do
Kid
8 in the
out
morning.
Out of
Going to
school
school
all the time.
Yeah. How about Tuesday morning?
Tuesday.
9 is the
Early
earliest,
would be good.
though 9 is the earliest I can make it because I have to drop Ben off at school now.
I can do Tuesday at 9.
Okay, and here's another possibility. If you want this meeting on Tuesday, we do have our back to school barbecue at noon where we do a big celebration with our staff and you're all invited. If you wanted to do it, you could either do it in the morning or you could do it like at 11. And then go to the
11
barbecue.
Tuesday.
Earlier
I want
is
to switch
better.
it at 11.
Earlier is better for me on Tuesday. I would have to leave here by 11.
Are you planning to come to the barbecue?
No,
No.
I can't.
So 9 or 10 on the 19th?
The 12th, the
The,
12th at 9. Can we do the 12th at 9?
no, the 12th is already
Yeah, it's
passed.
the 13th.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. 8. Geez, the 19th.
The
Sorry, I
19th.
apologize.
The 8 o'clock would be better for me personally, or 9 o'clock would be better for me on the 19th, but I can do 10 if you need to.
9, I can get here at 9.
9 a.m. on the 19th?
Yep,
August 19th at 9.
And you're gonna send something out to us? to
Yes.
remind us?
Yes, I will, and I'll change my cabinet time, because that's usually when we meet, but we can work on spending.
I will have
Yeah.
to, move an appointment that I already have and I cannot give an answer right now.
Okay.
no, but we have 4, so.
So you have quorum? No, okay.
Yeah.
I just let you know if I can move my appointment.
Thank
Do
you.
you-
So 9 a.m., right?
9 a.m.,
Information.
yeah, on the 19th.
9 a.m. on the 19th. Okay. Wow. Okay, this has been a painful calendar.
I know. Welcome to my world.
It's a lot. Feels like a little bit of a job.
I think this is the most inter-district transfer appeals we've ever had in 1 year.
Oh,
There's a reason for it.
Absolutely.
There's a reason for it.
Okay,
Thank you all.
so now we're done. Thank you so much. 9.2 staff reports. We have 9.2.1 early learning program monthly report. It's on page 133 of your agenda. Does anyone have any questions on that report? We have 9.2.2 general services annual report to the board, page 155.
No questions, just very thorough and informative report.
Okay. Moving on to comments by members of the board. Are there any board members with comments?
I do.
Yes.
I attended a back to school backpack giveaway. Saturday. It's actually put on by my son and his business partners. And they donate all the backpacks, school supplies, rulers, pencils, scissors, notebooks, the works. They gave away 350 backpacks.
Wow.
Soledad Barbers gave free haircuts to those who needed it. They did 172 haircuts.
Wow.
And they had a lot of vendors that showed up to give away free food and all of that. Soledad Pool gave wristbands to allow kids to go swimming for free. So it was a great event all day. And all of it, everything was donated by the community. So,
That's
and it's the second year that they've done that. So they were hoping to do it annually. And it's not just for Soledad students, although that's mostly what shows up. And everything was free, so. It's great to them.
Very nice. Thank you. John?
I think Dr. Gus and I are going on Thursday, the 21st.
Yes.
To Spreckles, to, give the board there a quick a presentation on the interdistrict transfer process.
Not interdistrict, but
The territory transfer process. Since it is part of the Spreckles district that has been petitioned to be taken out and moved to Washington Union. So, and it's a big part of the Spreckles district. So I'm sure there's quite a lot of consternation. But we're gonna go and just tell them that it is an objective process. It's not subjective. There's criteria as laid out by Ed Code. We follow the book. And so, just give them an idea of what's coming.
Great. Thank you, John. Any other comments from board members? All right, I will be attending, like John alluded to, the ACCBE Strategy Summit meeting this weekend, the 16th and the 17th. Taking our questions to them. We have a dinner on Saturday evening, and then all day we're doing strategic planning, and the agenda has been sent out. I also received an email from them about some upcoming events I want to make you aware of. There's a court and community school deep dive series that's starting in October and will be October and November. You can enroll on the website. They're setting superintendent salaries led by our very own John McPherson on August 25th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. You can register for that online. And then they have a quarterly county board gathering, effective governance for county boards of education. That's on September 22nd from 6 to 7:30 via Zoom. And you can register for that online. That's what I have for ACCB. All right, any other comments from board members? All right, moving on to reports from board members. 11.1 legislation, John.
The CSBA Legislative Committee is having a meeting on Friday, which is one of those, do we have it? Do we not have it? That they're saying they're going to have it, so I'll have a report at the next meeting.
All right, thank you. 11.2 Community Human Services, Annette.
I just wanted to say there was a very nice annual meeting that they had at the Monterey Marriott on the top floor. I can't remember. Is it Ferranti Room? Ferranti Room. Very nice. They always bring in people who are benefiting from the Community Human Services programs to learn about how they benefited. Virginia was there as well as Mary. And of course, they're looking now for a new executive director. Robin is retiring after 34 years in that position. So I am on that search committee too. So we got 14 proposals for search companies.
Oh, wow.
So we're reviewing those now. I also have the annual report, which CHS put together, and each of you can have one of them. And I gave extras to Cindy as well. If we need more, people can ask and we can get them for you. Just what they've done, it's pretty incredible how much they have accomplished. And as you can imagine, with the executive director leaving after such a long time, she's not leaving until March of 2026, and she can actually extend that if needed. But that's a big part of what I will be doing, representing us all, our board, because that's a big shoes to fill. So anyway, that's it for Community and Human Services, although we have another item on it at the very end about a resolution, but we can talk about that.
All right, thank you, Annette. 11.3 Child Abuse Prevention Council, that is me. We met on August 4th. The majority of our meeting, we went over our strategic plan. It's been almost 1 year since we wrote the first version of our strategic plan, and we just went through pretty much line by line with updates, assigning people and dates to the goals, and making sure we were still on track with what we set out to do a year ago. And this is a 3 to 5 year plan, yeah. So that's what we were doing. 11.4 Monterey County School Boards Association, and Mary went home sick, so we're gonna skip that one. Item 12, consideration of items for future meetings, and it looks like 12.1, we have the proposed future resolution for Robin McCray, Chief Executive Officer for Community Human Services, in recognition of her retirement.
So I'm working with Terry about it and making sure that we have a lot of the, information about how, when she started, I think we had 3 programs. We have something like 18 now.
Wow.
And the budget went from, like $3 million and we're up to $18 million. These are big changes over her tenure.
Do you have an idea, Annette, when you want that resolution presented?
It really, anytime before March, probably, maybe after the new year, so it's closer to her retirement. She's already, like, the Board of Supervisors thought she was retiring in September, so they already did theirs. But, by the time she retires in March, it's gonna be kind of like,
January.
maybe January would be great. Yeah.
Because the board retreats usually February.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So January?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go ahead, once we feel like we have all the information, we can go ahead and approve it at.
Whenever,
Yeah,
I mean,
whenever.
anytime before,
Future
but
meeting.
present it
And then
in
present it
January.
in January.
As soon as I have all the info, I'll work with Terry to make sure it's accurate.
All right, thank you. 12.2 proposed future agenda items. The Amazon presentation is on here. Are there any other agenda items? Proposed agenda items? All right, our next meeting is September 10th. It's an afternoon meeting at 3 p.m. Agenda items are due August 29th, 2025. And with that, I am going to adjourn the meeting at 12:07.
So in that.
Yes.
It's turned off.
I had a couple recommendations.
For county committee.
No, this is
Oh.
for.
Rob